I like those hoops.
Thank you. They're my standards.
Your standards?
They're my standard hoops. They're the ones I always wear when I wear hoops, like big hoops.
Oh, okay.
When I first started doing comedy, I was really suspicious. And the first time I did comedy, I had like a nice coat and huge hoop earrings. And let's see. And then like for some reason, even though I ate shit, I decided I needed to keep wearing the same thing. So I like wore huge hoop earrings every time I did comedy for like the first year. Yeah. And then I was like, this is stupid.
I think it's a good brand.
Yeah, but they were humongous, like to the point where it was absolutely appropriation. It was like, really like I think it's stupid. I saw like the discourse about like white girls wearing hoop earrings is appropriation. That was when appropriation was like super hot. I mean, the first earrings.
It's not hot anymore.
It's like it was like a super hot topic, and people were like they said winged eyeliner was appropriation,
right?
And like everything, it's like every time you saw a black woman do anything, you'd be like, you can't wear jeans anymore. I saw a lot of black women in jeans today.
Seasoning,
right?
Yeah. So, but no, I think that
Dude, I saw that about pumpkin spice. That like everyone was like.
Just reverse. That's white culture. No.
No, for real. Like, because it was like, oh, white girls and their pumpkin spice lattes. And then, like, someone did, like, a pumpkin spice actually comes from black culture.
Oh, my God.
Hell yes, dude.
No.
That rules.
I mean, maybe, but who, like, don't be
Stop. Yeah.
I'm mad about that.
I'm fine with that because it would mean that we would have to stop drinking pumpkin spice. Like, it would just kill
like
pumpkin spice.
Just don't be mad about lattes. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you should be mad at Starbucks for so many other reasons other than, like, the flavoring in the coffee.
For, like, canceling the Godiva chocolate, the little liquid chocolate. Did you ever have any of that?
No, I didn't.
Dude, it was just like melted chocolate.
Damn.
I'm sure it, like, re-solidified in your gut, but...
Wait, they just gave you a shot of
shot of chocolate.
Sauce?
I do remember that. That's in early 2000s.
Yo, that was
really good.
Actually.
Was that?
That was doo-doo. I'm sorry.
Now that they put the calories on coffee drinks, when I was in, like, early college, I used to get... It's just funny because I was like so skinny when I used to just drink 500 calories worth of coffee a day. And now that I'm 40 pounds heavier and I see what the calories are, I'm like, no, I'm going to drink an iced coffee with no sugar. And it's like, what's the point? I kind of think that everyone's just going to be whatever weight they are. And I don't really think it's a thing. Anyway, now that they have calories on coffee stuff, I never get like the delicious things anymore.
You're like a diet Calvinist. You just think there's the elect and the reprobates and then there's no...
Yeah. I don't mind that some of it has some calories, but when I found out that like there's like there's like literally 1,000 calories in what I was drinking, like frappuccinos.
Hell yes. Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, I could eat. That's like half a day's worth of food that I'm going to drink in 1 hour. That's pretty crazy.
What number are my headphones? Can you turn my headphones?
Oh yeah.
Or actually, can you just turn me up?
You are
headphones?
3.
I can't hear myself. I can hear Mary.
Oh, I think. Speak.
I mean it. I can't.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, you must have been saying something stupid and I turned you down. Let's see.
That makes sense. Yeah, there we go.
Is this better?
I'm going to keep saying dumb shit, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Was it when I said that the chocolate was doo-doo? You're like, I'm going to turn.
No, it's been like that. Maybe Tippy tried to turn you down. She's a cat.
Man, I feel the worst for Starbucks employees in the Lakeside Mall. Because they don't have anywhere that they can go hide. I was there on Christmas Eve, and I felt so bad because I like got a coffee, and it took a long time because there was 8 million people waiting for their coffees, and they're in like a kiosk, so they can't like every time they
escape.
They can't escape, and they can't even like make faces. Like when people are dicks to them, because if they turn around, then someone else is on the other side. Like you want to make a face, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So there's customers on both sides of the.
There's people in the mall on both sides. There's technically like a wall in the back, but there's no way that they can escape. And when they take their break, people were like, it was like a zombie movie. They were like, ah! And they're like, I'm on my break.
Right.
And they were just like, where's my coffee? It was like so horrible.
Yeah.
And then this one guy watched this poor man make like 4 fancy drinks. He watched him, and then he was like, oh, you did that wrong. And then the guy was like, why didn't you say something the entire time? And he was like, I didn't know those were mine. And he was like, you ordered 4. And he was like, I'm sorry, sir. I'll remake them. And he was just like, just like pounding everything down.
Yeah.
I felt so fucking bad. And they don't get tips. There's no tips at Starbucks.
Dude, God bless people who, when you fuck something up, like in the service industry, are just like, yeah, I'll still have this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't send anything back.
I mean, I think that like if you this is another online discourse I saw recently, and I totally think it's reasonable if someone sends you the wrong thing or if you're like allergic to something, you should send it back.
Well, if somebody drops
think you
something
should
that is
eat it and
completely,
die.
if somebody drops something that's completely unrelated to what you ordered, there's a good chance it's not it's
yours.
for someone else.
Right.
So that is fine.
Or if they I think
Oh,
that
by
if
the
you
way,
fuck
this is
something up.
Jordan Falciani.
Sorry.
Did I say your name right? I've never said your last name out loud.
I gave up. That is correct.
Say it.
You gave up?
Say it.
You gave up listening to me fuck it up?
No,
How do you say it?
Falciani's good.
What's better?
That's how I was raised saying it. So that's how I've always said it.
Oh, all right.
But I studied Italian
Falciani.
and I've lived in Italy.
Falciani.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you gotta yell
So,
it.
no one
Right.
says
you
that.
have to, you
I'm
have
not-
to scream it into a microphone.
I'm not going to try to convert.
Jordan Falciani.
Right. I'm not
Yeah.
going to convert my own parents to that. Yeah.
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 Oh, God. Telling
Here's
people how to say
the
Duke in
co-chair
Atlanta
of
was so
New
annoying.
Orleans DSA.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just mean, we have to give some context for who a person is. Yeah.
Right.
What does it mean to be the co-chair of DSA?
That's a good question.
That is a good question, and I do it. I think it just means that there's an element of coordination and facilitation to kind of just sets the tone and direction of things, and is sort of the ultimate person who makes sure things happen. I think is the easiest way to do it. I mean, there's definitely, I think, a lot of debate in DSA in general about what sort of political direction people in leadership should take, whether it's they see themselves as more in a facilitation role or in a role of
Spokesperson type shit.
yeah, and setting the political direction, saying this is what we should be doing. But yeah, I think that those are the two roles.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
you do a good job of setting the political direction, but without seeming like you're doing it. So no one's look at this power hungry motherfucker, but actually he is.
I mean, to me that's organizing. Is it's a bit. To me, organizing is a bit like Inception. It's everyone has to sort of come to oh,
It sucks
this is
and
why
is
it
bad.
means- Yeah, and it's very long, and it's just deeper layers. No, but everyone comes to their own reason why they participate and why they want to be involved in a movement, and so there's a degree that you set the political tone and you say this is important, but at the same time getting people to do something and buy in is they're it's all about them. They're going to be personal reasons why people do that.
Yeah, I definitely I have respect for people in leadership that know that they have to dial it back, because I feel everyone that comes to that position in DSA specifically has very strong opinions on how things should go, and most of the time they're good and right, because those are the people doing a bunch of work, and that's why they get elected into those positions. But it's a organization that takes everybody's input for it to succeed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it's tough to not just try and make the thing you want happen all the time, especially when you probably could, and just completely run shit. Democracy is not at all, I mean, it's kind of
Hell
maybe
yes.
of-
Come on, keep going.
it's I don't give a shit about
Yep, democracy. Got it.
as much as I give a shit about the things that I want it to accomplish.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
And
yeah.
for some people, they respect process a lot more, and it's important, because if you don't have that, there's no safeguards to make sure that things don't come completely off the rails if a bad person gets in charge. But
I think democracy is.
no, I mean it
yeah.
is good. I'm wrong. It's just not. It's just not a value of mine.
Right.
I've
if you
never
could
been
snap your fingers and just make everything go your way, you wouldn't care that not everyone wanted it.
if
you
three
knew.
people were wrong and one person was right, I would want that person
Yeah.
to be in charge. Not
Yeah,
freaking-
when people are
Benjamin
I don't
Hoffman
care how
Floss
you
freaking-
vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I also think there's very different types of democracy, and I think a lot of times people who are involved in this and the activist sort of subculture conflate everything with democracy, and not that it's not, but I think that there's other considerations of just people getting input. There's a thing where you want people to get input, but there's also a thing where like, we are accomplishing a thing, and getting input is not more important than actually like achieving something, actually winning power, or actually like speaking to a base that's larger than just
Or you're
us.
just going to be talking the entire time and not doing anything.
Right. Like just being accountable to each other and just being like, oh, we have to include everyone's opinion without it being reflective of how it's going to resonate with a larger base is not getting anything done. It's not helpful.
Right. I feel like, I don't know. Some of it, I think you have to like chalk up to like luck, and also just New Orleans being like a better place than most places. But we have like to deal with so much less like just complete idiots taking up way too much time at meetings, like trying to talk. But I don't know. Maybe that's because of like safeguards.
I think partially safeguards. I wasn't there at the beginning, but from what I can tell talking to people, I think that there are people who spent an incredible amount of time like making sure that those people who could have been that did not continue to come back, or or changed, or like there was a lot of time spent like carefully crafting the culture at the very beginning that we're still sort of I don't want to say coasting, but we're still sort of riding.
You're saying
that culture.
Allie and Josh have a bunch of people tied up in a basement somewhere.
Yeah. A little polonium in the tea.
So DSA DSA's existed before it was like real for how long? Like
The early 80s.
Wow. Okay.
1982.
Because was it in New Orleans? Was there a New Orleans chapter then?
There wasn't.
Was it just that one old guy that shows up everywhere?
No.
Who I've been seeing since I went to like protest when I was in high school.
I don't think that guy was ever a paper
No,
member.
it
We don't
wasn't-
have to say his name, but he has a beard and he sucks.
There was I've heard that there was very briefly a chapter in the late 80s that was sort of like associated with the environmental movement. I don't know how large it was, but it did not last very long, and that was sort of like it. So, yeah.
Wow. So it was pretty much the 2016 election that kind of like, how long was it around after that?
Sexism got invented in 2015,
Yep.
and then the
By Bernie
DSA
Sanders.
followed about a year later.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
What motivated me personally to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Silence white women for a living. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't make any money doing it, so it's not for
Well,
a
not
living.
yet.
This is purely out of passion.
Aspirational practice. So what are we mad about today online?
I have some things.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited. Go ahead.
Okay. So you saw the video where Bernie Sanders is amazing, and when he's talking to the New York Times editorial board, and everyone's faces are absolutely aghast that he's just like, I don't call people and say happy birthday. And he just said that, and he was clearly talking about, from like a careerist, he was like, I don't like bullshit. I don't like calling people to say happy
Right.
birthday. I know it would help me if I did. Obviously, it doesn't help you if he's saying it in that terms. It doesn't
I don't
help
call
you.
donors to say
Yeah,
happy birthday.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't call the people I fucking would schmooze with.
Right.
And then this
I don't call
fucking
Hillary Clinton and say happy birthday.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then this insipid bitch online posted this long thread about, she was just like, as a woman, I totally, men just, we're the ones that are caught that have to buy the cards and call and make the birthday wishes and blah, blah, blah. And then she started talking about Elizabeth Warren like she was the fucking room parent for like 8 children. And also, fuck you. It's not like Hillary Clinton. By the way, she talked about Hillary Clinton a lot and how she was like this devoted mother.
Wasn't this the same lady who was also like she mentioned
Not
like,
Virginia.
she
Heffernan?
mentioned Jane Sanders like having to say happy birthday to all these people.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't think that's
I don't think
happening.
that. I don't think
With
Jane
8
Sanders
calendars
did it.
just being like birthday.
I saw someone retweet the crazy lady's thread, and I was like, what the fuck could this be about? It's gonna make me so mad when I see it. And then I saw it and I was like, oh God. I was like, he was just being an angel. He was just saying like something that was also, everyone understood what he was saying. She
Right.
understood what he was saying. And you could literally take anything that a man said, and I've done this, so I know. Like, you can take anything a man says and make it sexist, because the world is so sexist that, like, you could find a pattern of men doing literally everything and then hurl it at a man and be like, it's because you're a man that you do this. And sometimes it's true. Like, sometimes it is true. I do that to Jeff, because I actually... here's the twist. I am the one that gets mad at Jeff because I do buy the presents and like write the cards and stuff. But it's not really because of sexism. It's more because my husband's borderline fucking autistic and can't do anything. And he cooks for me
I feel
every
like he's
night.
on one side of the border on that. And we
Yeah.
know
No, but he like cooks for me every night. He cleans the house. He like does everything else. There's no like gender designation of these things. It's just that some people are better at other things. And I'm sure there's women around the country calling people saying happy birthday. I just don't really care.
Right.
Like, I really don't care that like, you know, bougie white women have to buy birthday cards. I don't think it's like the worst thing happening to women right now.
Day 98.
Yeah.
I had to call George Foreman to wish him a happy birthday. Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't like calling people for their birthday. I don't like getting calls for my birthday. I just want to hang out.
I
don't
think
really
that for
want the call
family-
anyway.
Yeah, man.
Like,
It's different for
I'm
family.
about to hang.
I think she was talking about family stuff and like,
Yeah.
I'm good at being like, oh, it's, you know, your cousin's birthdays. We have
Oh
to.
fuck!
get
I missed
them.
my nephew's birthday. Damn it! Happy birthday,
okay.
Luke.
It's-
I know
it's-
you
he probably
don't.
has
That's all
under
right. Jane
control.
Sanders got you covered.
Yeah.
She took care of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. I mean, that is a pretty gendered thing. Like, I mean, Susanna is the one who's like, all right, we got to get on top of wedding
And it
presents.
should change. Men should
Right.
be more accountable.
But it could not have been less relevant to what
exactly.
Bernie Sanders was saying.
It was
at the time.
completely irrelevant.
Right.
And it's just like if they found out, it just bothers me that if you find out anything about Bernie Sanders, he's the only man who's ever been sexist in any way. I don't know.
I'm surprised not saying happy birthday wasn't painted as anti-Semitic.
Oh,
Right.
that's true. Yeah, Jews don't celebrate birthdays. That is 100%
Yes,
true.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Damn it, I was trying to think of something.
That's pretty great.
Also, why the fuck was the New York Times asking him about that?
Well, he had to interview.
They cut that out for the rest
It
of
was
the
a
series.
long-
They asked everybody out about birthdays.
It was the
too.
same interview. It was the same interview where they decided that he doesn't think racism is real because he said that economic anxiety is real. Which, by the way, that is actually what he said is actually true, even if it is like simplistic. I understand I'm a white person, so I'm not supposed to admit that I learned anything about the history of like, I don't know, whatever. Like, it is true that. And I admit this is only because the only reason I know this specifically.
when people's lives suck, they scapegoat.
But also
that is like
specifically
101
the
shit.
reason that anti-black racism started, and I'm sure that obviously people are correct. People are correct in the sense that like there are other things like I actually don't think it's fear of the other because I don't think that actually exists. Like it's been kind of studied multiple times. that
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think that people are actually afraid of people that look different from them. I think it is just like you're taught that certain people because of racism, you're taught through, you know, images and language that these people are bad, but it's not like if you were never brought up in that society that you would actually feel that way. They didn't even say white till 1690 and slavery existed since 1610.
Right.
Whiteness existed to preserve wealth. So it's like ridiculous to say that that's not, anyway.
No, I mean that's all true, and like you can do like deep dives to all of it, but also it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That like when people's lives suck, they want someone to blame, and
Right,
you know,
I mean,
there's in groups and out groups.
some people-
like that. This is not.
Yeah.
It's not even debatable. I don't.
Right.
think.
I mean, some
Yeah.
people would go so far as to say that racism and bigotry are necessary to sustain capitalism, period.
Yeah.
Like, there's just there's no capitalism without the myth of, like, the greedy Jew. Like, where's my money going? It must be the Jews and not, like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think every economic system too, like even prior to capitalism, every economic system had sort of that dynamic too. It just played out very differently. But I do think, back to like Bernie's comment, I do think in general he's gotten a little bit better on the messaging around race, but he's not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his heart's in the right place. He knows exactly, like he knows how it works, and he's right. He just does not nail the messaging question.
Right.
Like when they ask about global warming and or something, it's like, what about racial injustice? He can't just say, like, he can never just start with like, well, frontline communities are always
No, I
black
know.
or indigenous. He just never does that.
I know, and Margie was talking about this at the debate I didn't watch when we were standing outside. She was like, whenever I hear Bernie talk, I always hear people who hate Bernie hearing what he's saying, and I get really frustrated
Right.
because he's not like
Not nailing it.
Dude, but
Not
I mean,
getting
like, the
shibboleths,
criticism
right?
of a candidate for being a class reductionist is like, wow,
level. That's third
that's
tier
such a higher
socialism.
fucking
Yeah.
standard that you're like holding this guy to than like, like,
You only hear that in the movement. Like you don't.
yeah.
like Joe Biden can't finish a sentence. Elizabeth Warren pretended to be a different race for decades. Pete Buttigieg is like 5 years old and he's already like fired a black sheriff.
While driving a tank.
Yeah. And Amy Klobuchar is extremely creepy.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. My wife. No, but like, it just,
my God.
this,
I can't believe they endorsed Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. That was the first thing I saw when I got off the plane. I refreshed Twitter and I was like, what? And I thought it was a fucking joke because I had seen a tweet where someone made a joke that they were going to do that.
there was a
Yeah.
couple people who made like ridiculous, like joke, like shit post fucking tweets
Right.
that was going to happen, that it was going to be like a split endorsement
God.
and like just
We endorsed them
fucking
all.
Yeah.
swoosh from a different stadium. Like,
That was insane.
Totally nuts.
Warren.
Who did y'all think they were going to endorse?
I mean, yeah.
I thought Warren. Yeah.
But like, what the fuck did Amy Klobuchar do to?
She probably harangued them and threw stuff at them until they promised
dude.
to
They
endorse.
edited
I
that
think-
out of the interview.
I think that
She just held a stapler and was like, "You fucking know, you know what the fuck is up."
Heard.
I either think they know what the fuck they're doing and they like understand that it's stupid and makes no sense and that it's insulting.
I felt-
Directly insulting to Bernie Sanders. You mean.
So,
I mean, it's insulting to women.
Oh,
I
also
think
that,
I
yeah.
think it's really insulting to just be like, we just need a fucking gash in there. we don't care. Get your stinky pussy in there. We don't even care who the fuck you are. Yeah.
yeah, they don't agree on anything. Like they have, they're not even like.
No, they're honestly, look,
Right.
I don't hate Elizabeth Warren as much as you do. I kind of hate how Elizabeth Warren has gotten further and further right as the election's gone on and she kind of stabbed Bernie in the back, etc. But I would still, God, vastly prefer her to
yeah.
be the candidate over fucking Amy Knoblocher. Like, that's what I think El Ron Mexico called her. But
Yeah.
no, but she's like the worst. She's such a horrible bitch and she's so mean. I mean, she's really, I honestly would love to hang out with Amy Klobuchar. She seems horrible.
Like,
no,
yeah.
like
dude.
get drunk and
Oh yeah,
and
I'd
talk
love to
mad
get
shit.
drunk and just like talk shit about women that don't shave their legs with her. Like I feel like she's like that kind of woman that I would love. I'd just be like, yeah,
Joe
that
Biden
woman.
pops in and he's like, "I got a thing
Yeah.
or two to say about leg hair."
She beats the shit out of him.
Black kids love leg hair. Like, jump.
No, like I just don't want her to be president. I would love to hang out with her and just like roast everyone in a bar with her.
Right.
I just don't want her to be the president.
We don't. I can't think of
Or
a
any
single
politician.
thing that she is like.
Good on.
Even talks about like
Oh,
a
yeah.
single thing that she's presented.
I mean,
like even
her-
like
She's like the well actually guy for the debates, where every time someone's like, I have an ambitious policy proposal, and she's like, let's not get too crazy. Like you can't pass a thing, and you can't have anything, and everything costs money, and it's all $1 billion. More than that, I don't know how numbers work.
it's
Not
all,
because she's a woman, because the person playing the character.
right. No, we got that. Yeah, we got you broke character.
Yeah, as I often do.
she seems to be the Trump person on the debates. She's always the one that's like, well, President Trump, we have to stop President Trump.
Well, since Harris is out,
Yeah.
Harris was the like get him off Twitter.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred Harris to Amy.
No, because she was like, she actually is kind of a threat because every once in a while, like, her highs are so much higher. Like, she can.
Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude, I mean, this is my one of my fucking fixations about the Warren Bernie told me a woman couldn't get elected thing is that like she hired people from the campaign of she hired the people who destroyed the campaign of the best politician in the race, like the person who is the best at being a politician. She was so fucking good in the debate. She's like got all the star power, like the just dead-eyed sociopathic fucking like star power that you need to be like a dark horse candidate who does well in the race. and they fucking just fucked it up. They just completely fucked it up. And then Warren's like, I'm going to hire these people and then listen to the poison that they drip into my fucking ear.
And it's like all those people are all like super focused on all the online shit that happens that nobody cares about.
Except it's so funny because the only people that care about it are like us, and they're doing it all wrong. Like
Us to our own like detriment and death.
I know
Right.
it really doesn't
They
matter.
care about it because they get money. We care about it because we have brain poison.
Right, it's true.
I mean, but also like if we're not looking at it, who's looking at it? Someone's got to fucking look at it. Like,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
you go canvassing for fucking Bernie and you
no
knock
one
on the
cares.
door and you're like, I'm here to talk to you about Bernie Sanders, and they're like, I don't know who that is. And you're like, fuck, he's good. What do you like?
I
Do
was
you-
told his supporters were everywhere and harassing people. I thought you would know about this.
Yeah.
I'm here to harass you. No, but and then you say like, okay, so here's the issues, or like you don't not even say, but like, what do you like? What do you give a shit about?
Right.
Most of the time, he has a plan for that.
Yeah.
And then you tell them, and they're like, well, he's the Democrat, so I'll vote for him. And you're like, fuck, why are we doing any of this?
Yeah, people say that all the time. Like, I've canvassed in my life probably under 6 times. I actually used to do more political stuff before I did comedy, believe it or not. I know no one believes me, but I used to canvass like at LSU and for like other stuff, and I've canvassed for DSA once. No,
Legalize Molly.
yeah. But I canvassed for Margee, and everyone was just like, is she the Democrat? And I was like, yeah, but the other one's bad, as they were closing the door. I was like, she's the better Democrat. Vote for Margee instead of the other Democrat.
Right.
I'm like, there's more than one Democrat often, so that's the point.
Dude, people don't even know what a primary is.
No, they don't.
Which is insane in Louisiana, where they have the crazy primary. We have
Yeah.
the wild primary.
They call it the jungle primary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
tight.
This sucks, by the way.
What does the
Babe Grigio with bubbles.
Can I try it?
Yeah, it's really sweet. It's gross.
So it's like wine and
Can of wine.
also.
It's bubbly sugar wine.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
No.
Did you think?
Oh shit!
Yeah, I did think it
Did
was
you
gonna be
notice
good.
that it says California carbonated Pinot Grigio bottled by Yas Queen?
Hell yes, dude.
I almost ruined this. Almost poured that out on the...
That's all right.
Oh my
It's
god.
cheap.
That would be the funniest way for the podcast to end.
We're all just simultaneously electrocuted.
Followed by Yes Queen with 3 S's, Modesto,
Yes.
California.
It's the official
Yes,
wine in a
Queen.
can of Amy Klobuchar.
Oh my
Yeah.
I like that they did the 3 S's, so it does look very much
Babe.
like Ass Queen.
Drinkbabe.net.
It's canned by the New York Times editorial board.
It has a rose on it, but it's yellow, so it's
Perfect.
PP. Yeah,
Perfect.
It means it's PP.
All right, so we do not endorse this product.
No, we do not.
How do we feel about this beer that you brought?
I like it.
Yeah, this shit's good as fuck.
Yeah, can't believe
Most of the time, I don't like
Alright.
coffee beer.
So it's just a coffee stout? Is that
It's Vietnamese
No, it's like
iced coffee.
sweet. Yeah, so it's sweet.
you said Vietnamese?
Vietnamese iced coffee.
Oh, so like with the condensed milk kind of flavor?
Yes.
It's really
it has
sweet.
a slight flavor of the condensed milk.
I love it. You're making a face.
I'm gonna stop drinking this.
All right.
Just gonna put that aside. Just pretend that it's
And I
gone.
throw that away.
When you brought up that online stuff, I haven't been online in 5 days. It feels great.
Wait,
Dude,
so
why-
not only
how
have
do
you
you
not
do
been
that?
on Slack, but you just haven't been online at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I've been cleansing.
I've been pretty good these past couple of days, so I've been missing out.
What do you do when you have to say something when you want to hurt someone's feelings, but you don't want to text them directly? What do you do when you're not online?
Well, I was with 20 other people in my immediate space, so I hurt their feelings personally.
Wait, what have
Where
you been
were you?
doing?
I was up hanging out with some friends in upstate New York, like up in the mountains, in the cabins.
Sounds fun.
Oh,
It was,
tight.
it was really nice.
Wait, where are you from again?
South Jersey, outside Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I
East Coast generally.
I just don't understand the geography of the Northeast at all. South Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia. I didn't know
How
that
is
they
that
were close to
possible?
each other.
I like that. We like to keep it that way. I like that. That's
No, yeah,
good.
like Philadelphia and then Jersey and then New York is all
The
one
megalopolis or whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, I don't understand where any state
you just change sandwiches and like how
change
ma-
you
what
don't
you
even
call
change sandwiches.
sandwiches.
You just change names.
Right.
you change the name of the sandwich and how mad people are slightly.
Yeah.
It's a really dirty can.
Clean it.
I am clean.
Remember that time we drank rust beer?
That was awesome.
That sounds incredible. I like that.
Yeah, it was just
partially
it was just
rusted?
High Life that was rusted shut.
Oh, dude, I just remembered.
Was it just old?
You're welcome.
Oh,
Yes.
fuck.
That
It
sounds
was fun.
great.
I just remembered that I'm probably haunted. Because
Bring it.
I said rust beer, and I remember we were having a bonfire by the river when I was like 17 or 18, and my buddy brought a trash bag full of rusty beer, and I was like, tight, good, this is ideal, this is what I want.
Right.
And I was probably like 9 beers deep before I found out that they were from a building that burned down. Where, like, I think like 4 people died.
So you literally drank spirits that night.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna go kill myself.
Can't resist.
Oh man.
Speaking of killing yourself, how are you feeling mentally?
Not as much like killing
killing
myself.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's good. So,
Yeah.
Better or worse than last time I saw you?
A couple days ago?
Yeah.
I was fine a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Same. That
When
sounds-
when
that's
was a
same
couple
to
days
me.
ago?
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah. After the benefit, the
Oh,
Fundraiser.
I go out of town and then y'all hang out without me.
yeah,
Yeah,
Y'all hang out without
Group
me.
chat is mysterious,
Right,
silent.
we're
and
friends.
no one knows why.
Benjamin got into a booking pickle, and then he's like, "Ooh, I'll ask the guy for the abortion fundraiser whose jokes are all about children committing suicide." That's.
I thought it was gonna go better, honestly.
It actually didn't go. It went better than I expected it to.
How was that show?
It was really good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean,
But you did bad.
I wouldn't say it did bad. They were tight, but the trajectory was they started tight and then they loosened.
it
up
was
slightly.
fine. It was a really good show, but there was one lady in the front who I knew was going to be bad the whole time because she was like trying to talk to me during the announcement before the show.
Oh, God.
And I was like, okay, don't do that. And then she kept just saying like 1 or 2 words right around the punchline of everyone's last fucking joke. So it was like impossible to kick her out because I was like, you're not being disruptive enough
all the
Right.
time
to warrant anything, and I'm continuing to warn you.
Right.
But like it'd be insane of me to be like, you need to fucking go.
Oh, man.
But also it's
I
like
hate
you're
that.
fucking up everyone's like the whole momentum. Audience members have too much power. See, this is the democracy. I don't fuck democracy. Exactly.
Dude, in Atlanta, okay, so I've always heard that in New Orleans we shush too much from like comics in Austin. Okay, so there's every scene has a different culture around shushing, and I've learned that Atlanta's a
You
lot.
mean people shushing each other in the crowd?
No,
What do you mean?
host of show shushing people who talk.
Oh,
now
yeah, okay.
some people have the philosophy of like, unless someone is like, you know, screaming slurs, cursing, completely ruining the show.
Right.
Like, it's basically up to the comic to make sure that they're interesting enough to not get sort of mildly heckled.
Right.
That is like
Or the comic themselves fights back. And
Right,
sort of-
exactly.
Okay, all right. I know you're going somewhere with this, but also there's a fucking difference between a heckle and someone just talking.
No, sure.
Because a heckle, that is on the comic to fucking like
Yeah.
handle that situation. If someone's talking to the comic,
See, I like.
but
I try to-
if people are just talking to each other, shut them the fuck up.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree. See, I think that there's some scenes that like I've heard from comics in Austin that they think that New Orleans is too uptight about like the culture of the show, basically just like shushing people too fast, being a dick to the audience. They think that they should let the comics, you know, do more with that. And then in Atlanta, I got shushed when I was talking in another room. And like Joe Pettis, who runs shows there and is great and gave me $100 and I love him, but he is like, and also put us up for free. Love Joe Pettis. Go to all of his shows in Atlanta, but he is a shusher. And also he kept up being like, no offense, y'all, but y'all are in the way. And Vince and I were like, literally, like we kept being in the way. And he was like, I was like, all right, let's stand against this wall. And we even laughingly said, Joe's going to tell us you're in the way. And then he comes up, he's like, hey, we actually got to put some chairs along this wall. And Vince was like, all right, we'll just get on the bar. He wants us to stand on the bar like little
Was the
gargoyles.
club the size of a bathroom?
No, it was humongous. But it was like a ballroom in a hotel, but it's not a real ballroom.
Right.
It's like an inn.
Right.
It was like a very haunted inn.
It gets better
Everyone
and better.
thinks it's haunted, but there's just a cat. So like, there's just a cat that like runs around and sounds like a
I
ghost.
feel that way about New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like everyone thinks it's haunted, but it's like no, it's just the
Infinite.
infrastructure is not good here.
It's just creaky. It's just like
But
that.
my friend showed up at a show. She found out I was in Atlanta from Instagram and showed up at a show with 4 other people. And she gave all the other people a long lecture about what heckling is. And then she ended up being the first and only one to heckle during the show.
Hell yes.
All she screamed was Ian Hebert is a Atlanta comic and he was calling himself fat and because it's part of his joke. And then she was like, "You're perfect," and he was like, "Shut up." And then she had to. The problem is,
Ian
then they
Hebert
have
is
to,
great, dude. That dude's
Yeah, he's
fucking
really funny.
hilarious.
Then of course she had to apologize for 8 years, and it's just like that's why it's not worth shushing someone, because then they have to like give you their whole fucking story on why they spoke at that moment. Oh man, I hate running shows. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I hate people that come to shows.
Yeah, stop going to comedy shows. We literally don't want anyone there.
Yeah, speaking of, me and Benjamin are getting ready to think about considering putting together a show for this podcast. Yeah.
That's
So
a no.
why'd you say that? You shouldn't
That's
have said
a-
that near her.
That's a no from
No, I mean, she's known about this the whole time. She
No,
just
no,
doesn't
no,
want
but
to participate in any way.
It's been floating around.
This is like organizing a
As an
workplace.
audience
Like,
member,
no,
I assumed it was happening.
She's not-
For a long
I'm the
time.
boss.
Yeah.
That's a long-
She's not the boss. There's no boss. This
no.
is a democracy.
She's not the
It's a
boss.
democracy where
okay,
you
but
hide it.
when
I
you,
own the means of production, but it's a democracy.
even when you organize a workplace,
But you don't make any money.
Even if it's not like that, you don't want the boss. Like you don't want the boss to know for sure, but you secretly write down from 1 to 4 how down everyone is. You go around and you gotta have So you
Somebody
fuck this up.
watched the
We're both
organizing for
ones.
power videos right there.
I didn't actually, but I know this. I don't know how I know this, but it's because I'm fucking doing this in secret at my actual workplace.
Use that effect more.
It's
on the
louder when you do
podcast.
So you should know.
Stop it.
I was born in it. That's all I know how to do.
Man.
I don't know how to do. What are y'all doing?
I forget all of the words
Get
from
back to the
No
analogy.
Country for Old Men, but it is a lot more like that guy, the guy who kills people with the cattle thing.
Anton, what is it?
Anton Chigurh.
Okay.
But yeah, she's a fucking 4, and you just blabbed, and now
Okay,
she's gonna go to the
I'm
boss.
a 7. Thank you.
Huh?
No.
No, dude. I mean, what else did you have to do? We already knew that we were ones. She's gonna go along for the ride in solidarity. She's just not gonna
What you
do
should
any
have done
work.
is got somebody who's not on the podcast
Yeah.
and convince them to subtly bring it up around Mary Devon all the time.
Oh
and
my
kind of plant the
dude!
seed.
You really
We're
are.
gonna-
Earlier, you were like, organizing is basically tricking people into thinking things, and now you're literally proving that you are a
That's
genius.
what I would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
And Mary Devon's looking at me like it would have worked.
It would have probably worked. It would have probably worked but the thing is, none of my friends whose opinions I value listen to podcasts. So
Whose
I mean,
opinions do you value?
I mean, I guess I value
So
Jeff's
you don't have
opinion.
any friends who listen to this podcast, or you're just shitting on all of them.
I mean, the ones that I talk to closely, like my closest friends that aren't that like. I don't know. Now that sounds really bad, but like y'all are my close friends. My husband is my close friend, but like the people that
That's so nice.
the people that I seek advice from, like aren't the people that I like seek advice from about comedy and podcasting and stuff. Aren't people that do it. I guess. Does that make sense? Like Gabby and like
Yeah.
all the people in my wedding and all that
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for y'all.
Yeah.
You.
So everyone.
I don't value anyone's opinion.
Just everyone at Mary Devon on Twitter and tell her that you would come to a show.
Whenever I
Oh yeah, please. Actually, that would work. I love attention. If I can find out that people will go to a show, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
That's the
it is.
entire fucking
No, they
point.
will go to the show too.
Okay.
We surprisingly have people listening to this.
At No Pods No Casters or
Nah, just Mary Devo.
at Mary Devo, MERRYDEVO is my Twitter.
She batted her eyelashes while she said that. While she spelled out
I
her
love
handle.
attention.
Yeah.
Was she batting her eyelashes, or was she slowly like stroking out? Just,
What's your idea for the show?
Oh, it would
Just a live recording?
absolutely
or
not.
Okay,
I
good.
think that exactly. And MD agrees. I think Benjamin.
Yeah, live recordings suck.
Live recordings of podcasts are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's good about podcasting, which is like low key intimate conversations or whatever. It's
Trust in
completely
being able to go to the bathroom.
right. It's completely annihilated when you're like doing it on a stage.
Yeah.
But so it would just be like a stand-up showcase with a lot of people who have been guests on the show. You know, like Kamari to do it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, what is your vision?
I think that would be cool, and I think it would be cool if there was a like dance party afterwards or a live band, like a DJ or a live band afterwards. I think would be tight.
I think that's
But
perfect.
I just want that to happen after comedy shows anyway, because it's like, okay, now we've gotten
what do we
people.
do, right?
We've gotten people in
We're
a
all
good
hyped,
mood.
yeah.
Let's all stand outside of a bar and drink and talk about the thing we just did.
Can I smoke a joint?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you want any joint?
Yeah.
Nice.
I got to pee again.
I bought pre-rolls from the guy I buy weed from, who I
Right.
will not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you remember.
This guy. Yeah.
This guy. It's my last one. Man, I got so high in Atlanta.
Oh, it's so little.
I know.
I love it.
So you flew out there. You were just in Atlanta. You didn't go anywhere else.
Back. Yeah, I came back at 11 last night.
Me too.
Oh, nice.
Wow, we were at the airport at like the exact
We
same
were.
time.
What time did you get picked up from the airport?
Like 11:30. Yeah.
Me too. What the fuck? Yeah, we were there. What did you fly?
I don't fucking know.
I flew Delta, but I got it through Skiplagged, this app that everyone should download. Guess how cheap my
$173.
$116, bitch.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
That's
and it
pretty
was
good.
a good ass fucking flight. Like I mean, we were in like the section that Vince is the most. I was traveling with my fellow comic and co-host or co-producer of Comedy Fuck Yeah on Fridays at the Dragon's Den.
Batting eyelashes again.
Okay, blinking is not batting eyelashes, but Michael's trying to do Betty Boop.
I do have very long, luscious eyelashes.
You do have luscious eyelashes.
thank you. Go ahead.
And small eyes.
That's
no
true.
offense. Yeah. Today I met a man with no eyes.
Yeah, right.
That's a John Mulaney.
Susanna says that to me all the time. The John Mulaney punchline, today I met a man with no eyes. That's
That's
so
the
good.
Italian look. Long eyelashes, mustache. I know I'm Italian.
You don't have small eyes.
eyelashes. I said
Oh.
long eyelashes.
Oh,
like
yeah.
men with long eyelashes.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
true.
This is very Italian.
Anyway, so it was really good. It's just that like the first flight we were on, I was traveling with a very anxious person who I always wait till the last minute to board anyway because I hate standing.
The worst.
And I would rather just like face it out. The whole flight was full, and we were both in middle seats. And Vince approached a very Southern woman who he was like, "Hey, can I get my stuff in the overhead?" And then she was like, "I can't get out." And then she was like, "You have to move back." And then Vince moved back into me, and I moved back to like a whole row of people. And it was just like whoosh, 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 and I was like, "Vince, I can't move." And this bitch was just like, "I am not getting out." And Vince was like, "Well, I can't really climb over you." And it was very awkward. And then I accidentally like started playing music from my phone, and I had like a huge carry-on. I brought a duffel bag with no shoulder
Dude,
straps.
I saw
30
his
pounds.
Instagram.
I was
like,
just
story
kicking
of
my
you-
duffel
yeah.
bag around the airport because
It doesn't have a strap?
it only has
sell
hand
them like
straps,
that?
and it was 30 pounds. No, it's my gym bag from when I was in 8th grade.
okay.
So the strap broke years ago. And so I ended up going to one of the first things I did, like the second thing I did is what I meant to say in Atlanta was I went to the Target in Atlanta and bought a suitcase with rolly straps because I haven't done that.
Rolly straps.
Rolly bars.
There.
Really straps.
I still don't know what you're talking
Wheels.
Yeah.
Rolly wheels.
Wheels.
Well,
Wait, does it have a strap or wheels?
you hold the thing
Yeah,
and
so I
then
brought
you
the
wheel
car
it.
into the dealership and told me I got a problem with my rolling straps. And then he was very sexist to me about
I'm gonna kill everyone. Anyway, very long story short, I had taken an edible before I got on the flight. So when I got off the plane in Atlanta, I
I
was
have
just
no desire to do that.
Why?
so miserable and
Yeah.
confused. And I had a duffel bag.
I've always wanted to trip on a plane, but
I was talking about that this weekend. Why? Why?
you see the top of clouds.
I know,
That shit's
it's
tight.
a confined environment. It's
Headphones.
like limited.
Headphones.
You can't control like smells. You can't control the quality of the air. You can't control.
You can't control
you're
that
surrounded
anyway,
by
man.
You control that in a lot of places.
So that's what you got to learn is you never really have control, man. I don't know.
No desire to do that either.
I think
You're the only person that I
getting
feel
it
like you could be
onto the
okay.
plane would suck. But once I was on the plane, I'd be fine. Because it's like, you only have to worry about the person next to you.
That was my logic, but
And
then I
most of the time
forgot
they
that I
fall
had to get
asleep.
off the plane.
And it would keep me, hopefully, from getting one of those weird airplane boners. You guys get those?
Oh my god, I do, and I never
Yes, I
realized.
fucking told you.
I don't.
No, that is a real thing.
Whoa.
I think it's because
It's like
the pressure.
it's a penis pump. Well, you're just in a giant penis pump.
Yeah, it's thrust, drag, weight, and lift, and that's how it gets your dick hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's crazy.
No,
just
I
massive.
always fall asleep. I can't smoke
You
weed.
can't
It
smoke
sucks. I'm cursed.
Is
I might be able
Oh,
to
I
now.
forgot about this.
I see. I
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
That's another. I have to try again.
Does the secondhand smoke fuck you up?
No, not at all. But like,
I don't think that's. Yeah.
I want because I want.
That's so funny you said that. I was thinking about that this weekend.
With
What?
the,
Someone
my
was
dick.
like- Tripping on an airplane. I was just like, no.
So someone else thought tripping on an airplane was a good idea?
It just came up in conversation.
Okay.
How did it come up?
I don't know.
Sorry, Jordan, you're going to get grilled now.
I don't know, but we were all like, no, that's bad.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely bad.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
You don't have to fly it. You know.
I think, yeah.
You don't have to fly.
That is funny.
Because like, even so, like if I'm tripping and I'm in a car, sometimes I'll like be worried because like it occurs to me how like dangerous traffic is. But I feel like on a plane, I'd be like, well, there's no other planes that are gonna run into the
They
plane.
got
I know, I'd be
traffic. They got
miserable.
traffic.
They don't
up
have
there.
that much traffic.
Because-
When was the last time you were up there and you were like, "Oh shit, we almost hit another plane"?
We're just backed up, just completely stopped.
Does the pressure from planes really hurt y'all's ears and like faces?
It does. It hurts my ears and it makes my dick hard.
It hurts my ears.
Much like all
yeah,
women.
So I'm constantly, the whole plane ride, I'm just like I am just like opening my jaw and like trying to like click it open.
Do you
as much
pop
as
it?
I do that
Do you
too.
pop your
Yeah.
ears as soon as you
Yeah.
land? I
Yeah.
gotta pop it a couple times, like
Dude,
that
but
day.
it, like
too.
I
popped the
couldn't
whole
hear.
time.
I couldn't hear out of the right side of my head, my right ear, as they call it.
My right wheelie strap.
Some folks call it an
Well,
ear.
if you wear a wheelie strap on the right side of your head, that's actually appropriation. So, yeah.
Oh man.
I don't actually think women talk too much. Benjamin, however, does at shows.
At shows.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
the,
always
the
like that.
lady.
So
yeah.
I kept being like, you need to find, if you're gonna do these fundraisers, you need to find one woman who is the dedicated shusher. So it's not just like, welcome to the abortion show. Shut up, everyone.
I wanted to say bitch.
Yeah,
Shut up, bitch.
yeah.
It's very fun to say. It's one good thing about being a woman is I can say shut up, bitch sometimes. I was gonna say whenever I want.
I feel like you can.
I probably have
Pretty
to-
much whenever.
Always
Worse.
women who
Supposed
hate
to be like,
cunt
yeah,
or
she is a
bitch
cunt. It's
are
true.
always women who have
Yeah,
the most sexist idiot husbands, and I'm just like, they might not say those words. Probably they do, but like they might not. But I'm like, how can you be so critical of other women for just like having a release, like an emotional release, and like anyway? It's like I had that happen at like I very stupidly went to a work function where there was free booze, and I got way too fucked up and started talking about unions. That like I get very cocky when I'm drunk, especially when I'm talking to people because we were talking about like how people aren't paid enough and blah blah blah, and like administration. Anyway, I got too
That's
fucked
not
up.
Inception. That's not Inception
And I was
right there.
talking, yeah. And
Subliminal, liminal, superliminal.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily everyone was really drunk and very bored by what I was saying, and I don't think that they would have been more interested if I had done it better. I think they just like were tuning me out, and it was mostly just like coworkers that like anyway. But this one woman went on and on about how the cool coworker that I really like called some woman a cunt earlier, and she was being a cunt, and it was really funny.
Wait, to her face?
No, behind her back.
Okay. Because that's a different thing. If you call someone a cunt to their face,
No,
like
behind
it's
her
on.
back.
Yeah, no. That,
Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah.
the best behind the back moves there is. But
It's very rare that I've like seriously aggressively called a woman a bitch to her face, I think, other than like my own mom. But she does it to me too.
Yeah. The worst example of drunk confidence that I have ever perpetrated was at Thanksgiving at Sam Fick's house, and Nell's mom was there, and she's a very fancy lady, and I was just talking to her like by the wine because that's where I wanted to be, and I was eating a pear, and I said, pears are like apples if apples were actually good. And then I said, I have many powerful opinions, and this is merely one of them. I said that to a human being. I was really feeling good.
I feel like that's fine.
What did
that
her-
doesn't even
what
seem
was her
that crazy.
face when
She's
said
just
that?
like she's not online. She's just like a middle-aged woman who's she just was like she didn't say anything, which is correct. And like
She didn't laugh. I mean, that's funny.
No, because I don't think that she knew that I was. She didn't know anything
Probably-
about me.
The worst part is she probably just thought that you were being earnest, and she was like, "Oh, he thinks that he's a wizard."
Well, dude, I mean, if someone like can't detect that level of like fucking around, then you should do it extra hard in front of them. Until they figure it out. I feel like
working from home has made me so that I have one gear. I have exactly one gear. I have exactly one register. I cannot code switch for any other context. I like interviews. You either are like super down or you don't even think about calling me back. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is all just to say that. What was I talking about? I don't fucking know.
I feel like I'm losing my registers, though. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I don't work from home, but I feel like I have definitely less registers than I had 5 to 10 years ago. And I attribute that 100% to brain poisoning, internet brain poisoning. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like it feels so bad to. I mean, I think of all the people at the table, you probably know the feeling most intensely of like holding your tongue or acting in a way that does not feel natural to you. It like if
I probably hold my tongue more on this podcast than I do in normal life.
do you?
Yeah, definitely.
It's only because people are listening.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like recorded for posterity, but like most of the time I'm like worse.
Yeah.
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 But I don't know. I've never really had a filter or like I've never been able to like I sucked at school because I couldn't turn it off, and I've never even considered having like a real job because I just couldn't do it.
Right.
Like it's not. I'm a polite person when I need to be, but I can't do it.
It's weird. It's extreme.
I think it helps with like face-to-face organizing to like not have different modes. Like I think a lot of people like when they are doing like canvassing or any like public facing like organizing kind of stuff, they think they have to like put on like kid gloves with everyone, and it's like nobody likes being talked to that way. Like if you're the kind of person who swears normally, swear in front of that person and they'll probably trust you more.
Chances are they swear too.
Yeah, they do. And like, you know, ideally you want people to like see how you actually see the world, so just present whatever that is. And like most people are crass and don't give a shit about like any of the like ways that debates are framed online or any of that anyway. So just fucking say whatever you feel and like listen.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, context cues from like the identity of the people. Like, I'm not, you know more about it than I do. I'm just saying like I'm high and thinking about it, but that makes a lot of sense. I feel like professionalism does poison your brain and make you horrible, though.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I tend to retreat, I think.
Can we circle back to that later? Can we table that and circle back to it later? Just the fucking slag. Me and my friend at work have like, you know, you can pin messages on Slack. Like we have a pin of just every horrible corporate piece of corporate language that we hear in meetings, and it's unbelievable. Like there's a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Table that.
Yeah. Good flag. That's another one.
Oh,
Good
God.
flag.
Oh, that's
and
terrible.
Share out. Let me think. Wait. There's,
Share out?
Yeah, that's like something.
That's your
in-
office. What the fuck is share out?
No, it's not really office.
When you say something,
It's
I
school
imagine,
culture.
right?
It's school culture, like nonprofit youth program speak is
Okay.
like, oh, if you want to share out about an experience and like if you want to like community of practice, all these things, and it's like Anyway, it's
Yeah.
I'm gonna read them.
okay.
Ready? Don't want to get caught flat-footed. Signal a more robust agenda. Higher MPH. That's a good one. Siloed.
Higher MPH?
Yeah, just
Does
like
that mean faster?
just like a higher octane, like a more intense version of something, like a higher MPH
I've
version
never
of it.
heard these.
Siloed as like a
Sure, yeah.
drill down. Get a little crisper on it.
Drill down sounds like fucking.
like making something real is getting a little crisper on it. This one just says multi-dimensional data cube interface. And then the last one is unfortunate school shooting.
Oh man,
So that was fun.
I prefer less fortunate school shooting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab beer.
I got one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Here. I gotta go nowhere.
Thank you. I gotta go get the blanket.
Y'all think Tom Steyer wants to fuck Bernie?
Wait, oh, you're talking about the? No, that he just wants to. He's just a fan. That'd be a very funny endorsement if the billionaires all endorse.
Dude, I think it's gonna be Steyer and
It's
Yang. They're gonna be the
possible.
only ones who endorse him.
It's possible. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
out of
think
all
that's
those
in
people.
there.
Oh shit! Also, I saw the like. So it's insane that the New York Times like endorsed Warren and Klobuchar at the same time. That's nuts. But and even not even crazier. But from that same endorsement process, their third choice was Cory Booker.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because everyone got to like, you voted for your first two like favorites, and Warren and Klobuchar are tied.
Right.
And then the next one immediately, he almost got in that fucking tie was Cory Booker.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I just am so disappointed Cory Booker didn't have more gaffes, didn't have more like insane
Dude,
shit
just-
that he said.
just
He
that-
just
It would have
didn't
been fun to
exist.
have him around for a while. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
That one picture
He's
of
so
him in a
bad
down
at being in public.
He's so bad at being human. Like
Yeah.
he's just like flopping around and just like
yeah.
Was there more rankings? Was that and who
Oh, yeah.
below Cory Booker?
I mean, I could look it up.
That's okay. I don't care. Probably wasn't Bernie.
No, yeah, he didn't even come close.
That's so
I think
funny.
I screenshotted it.
How did Pete do? Boy,
I'll check it.
Benjamin Applebaum really went after Pete. That was sick. That's the only good thing that guy's ever done.
I don't know who that is, but for a second I thought you were just making fun of me for being Jewish by calling me Benjamin Applebaum.
No, he's the one who interviewed Pete and was like, "You're on the front lines of everything everyone hates about capitalism." He didn't say capitalism, but
but he meant it.
yeah, corporate downsizing, fucking consultants, like war stuff.
Oh, I guess Warren
And he
Klobuchar
squirmed
didn't
and
tie.
just-
It's Warren had 8, Klobuchar had 7, Cory Booker had 6, and then Buttigieg had 4, Biden had 3, and then Sanders and Bloomberg both had 1.
Nice.
Respect.
So
Yeah.
it's even more insulting.
Than we thought.
That Klobuchar, yeah, because she didn't
So
even
they
tie.
had a winner, and they were like, you know what? Let's put both bitches in there.
Dude, if Bernie gets the nomination after Yang endorses it would be very funny to me if like the gamers put Bernie over the top and it just became a in the eyes of everyone else like a coalition of misogynists, just like gamers and people who already supported Bernie. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a good
That's what's coming.
thing to happen.
I think most Yang Gang people are fairly sympathetic to Bernie.
Yeah,
Right?
and they are starting to convert. I have heard this happening. People who are
It
starting
makes
to look at
sense
Bernie,
because it's just like fringe, like, I don't know. There are less libertarians now, I think, just because, or like, libertarianism has sort of just taken over the Republican, like,
Yeah.
economic,
Yeah.
like, framework. And
Yang is like
always
soft
was.
is like soft libertarianism too, because it's not like like talking about it. It's not like out. It's just like
It's just like rebooted shit.
right,
Yeah.
right. But under this like guise of like we're gonna reinvent stuff and we're gonna be innovative and like this whole like startup subculture thing.
Disrupt
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Have you all read his website and his platforms?
No.
I've talked about this a bunch, and it is my favorite thing. He has 10,000 platforms, and they're all completely just like
They're not coherent.
One
They're
of them is
not
get people to higher ground, which is awesome. Like,
I didn't even know that was in there.
running up that hill.
He has one about malls. He has a program for the malls. Dead malls. We're gonna save the malls in America.
I have seen
and
something,
turn them
yeah.
into community centers. Like we're gonna, fund them to. He wants to get rid of the penny. That's an old one, a classic, sort of like iconic, like crazy. I mean, to me, it reminds me a lot of like the vaguely non-political populist movements that have happened in a couple other places. Like it reminds me of like Five Star Movement in
You can
Italy.
go back to his other platform. Sorry.
What was that?
Five Star Movement in Italy was kind of the same thing. So that was like, it's still happening. They're actually in government now, in coalition with the actual fascist party. But basically, like in the early 2010s, like it started as like an online sort of community, and it was basically like an anti-corruption, like vaguely populist platform. They had similar stuff. They had like UBI, that was like their main like their big marquee platform sort of, and it was started by like a vaguely right-wing comedian. And so it was like you would go online and you would go in this thing and you would propose policies and people would vote for them, and they were all developed. It was basically like running a political party via Reddit was essentially what it was. And they came up with basically that. And it's like this, and they kind of like love to talk about like, oh, well, we're not left, we're not right, we're just sort of like, we just want things
We just
to
believe in
work.
content.
Right. We just want to like, like fix things and like end corruption and make it work for people and like that type of stuff. But like they're at the same time they're like UBI and like kind of like vaguely pro-union, but also like we're gonna send all the immigrants back to Africa. Like they're both of those things simultaneously.
So it was like if like the Skankfest people had like a political party that like gained a little bit of power.
Yeah.
Which I feel like could happen.
No, are you what?
You don't think so? They're powerful.
You wouldn't vote for Lucia Gomez for president?
No. It would be really funny to see a white lady have to.
He would look,
unless
he would look really good on
he's a person of color.
Right, exactly.
But it's a weird phenomenon. I feel like it's like this thing where people know something's wrong. They are aware that the traditional sort of structure, at least like within electoral politics and whatever it is, they're aware that like the traditional sort of like, whatever it is, corporate sort of left party, whether it's Democrats in the U.S. or whatever, some sort of like liberal party in Europe.
Or fucking like the Blairite labor motherfuckers.
Exactly. They're aware that that's not going to happen, but they don't really have like an understanding of like power to where they just sort of like, they're
Well,
just
they go
like,
for these
we're
like,
going to throw
weird
things
like
up in the
Ross
wall.
Perot fucking figures where it's like all you're doing is saying I'm not this.
Right.
Like
Right.
that you
Well,
don't actually really
There's
have
two pathways it goes down. It's either like a weird Ross Perot figure where it's like, we're going to do it this like, I'm an outsider and I know business and I'm going to fix shit up. Or it's like we're a movement, there are no leaders, and this is like a autonomous, we're just going to reform things through change. I mean, even like Gilets Jaunes had that sort of like character to it where it was just like, we're just going to manifest. Like we have these 7 demands and like we don't have like
And a vision board.
Right. Like we don't have a sort of like, a platform. We're not trying to like win this specific thing. And it just speaks to like how there are kind of like limitations to that and how like there is change, but people who don't understand power kind of just like are just going to want to throw things up against the wall.
Right. And it makes it really easy for like opportunistic like outsider candidates to run with no actual like base of support that they represent at all. Like fucking Jesse Ventura won the governorship of Minnesota, like running like joke ads as like Jesse the Body, like he got in, and now he's got the light rail. So
and it's a serious thing. It's a thing for
the light rail does kind of kick ass, but now they're like putting it through fucking like historically black neighborhoods and shit, and it's like Jesse, I don't think this is what you wanted, man. So whoops.
How bad is it that I don't know who Jesse Ventura is?
So he was a professional wrestler who's also in the movie Predator. Predator is it starts so it's like him and fucking Schwarzenegger.
I've seen, I think, the movie No, it's not that movie.
You're thinking of To Catch a Predator?
No, I was thinking of like the Predator movies, like the monster movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
No, or just like Manhattan, or like Annie Hall, Predator movies. No, but he's in that. It starts fantastically. It's like him in a chopper, and he spits on Arnold Schwarzenegger's shoes.
Yes.
And then says like 10 slurs, and then they don't.
Then he gets elected
Next thing
governor.
you know, he's governor, and that's how it happens.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have anything to do with the rest of the movie.
We've
at
all been there.
We're like, we just want to make sure that this character is racist, but not necessarily portray him as bad.
Right.
Just like he'll say it. But yeah, and then so he became governor of Minnesota on this weird outsider platform, and now
He's like Joe Rogan for RT.
yeah, he has like a show on RT, and he's like a 9/11 truther, which is crazy because he
Sweet.
was a governor like around that time, and he keeps saying,
well,
he's like,
that's why he's a truther, because he knows the truth.
he says that he has like information
Yeah, of
that other
course,
people don't
yeah.
have. I'm like, this rules.
I cannot get this out of my head. The person on Twitter who posted the graph of Jenga sales over the years, and it was like 1998, pretty good. 1999, pretty great. 2000, really good. 2001, plummeted. Just
Amazing.
No one bought Jenga
Amazing.
in 2001. So yeah, and then it kind of slowly crawls back.
Yeah.
Up, So I think we're due for another building collapsing. Yeah.
But I think this point about like sort of like imposter or grifter candidates or whatever, I think it's a serious problem for the movement too.
Oh,
like
I completely fucking agree, dude. Yeah. I will not.
Yeah.
I wonder
I
who
will
you're
not
talking about right
name
now.
any names, but there's one guy who I just get the worst grifter energy from, and he's got a lot of fucking
Joshua
for
Congress. That guy.
no. It's I'll cut it, but the something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
no.
I'll look him up.
But so I think it is like a thing where like
It's worrying for. I mean, it sucks though.
not
'cause
even
it's
a
like,
specific candidate, just the concept of that and how you fight back against it and how you like recognize it.
right, but like it puts people in
Oh,
a
I don't
tough
even know what
position
that
where
is.
it's like,
I've never seen that.
yeah, I don't know.
30,000 followers running as a socialist.
California governor. That's how you know.
Governor?
That's how you know that it's a imposter candidate, a grifter. Yeah.
No, this is how you know it's a fucking grifter. 2022, and then the next thing is digital marketer. So if that doesn't scream like I saw an opportunity and jumped on it,
I'm a digital marketer. Now please give to my campaign, which is actually in 2 years.
Dude, I got an unhinged Facebook message from some guy like 6 months ago, and I think I just blocked him right away because I was like, I'm not talking to this person. But I don't even remember what I posted, but it was like some fucking political joke. And then at the time, I think I've changed it since then. I might not have because I don't really look at like my fucking Facebook profile ever. But I had put my job as government executive and like
Government daddy.
yeah, like infotainment extraordinaire or something like that. And this person completely believed that I was in the government and
oh yes, dude,
got very mad at
was
me.
mad at you.
Yeah.
For what? Like putting fluoride in the water and poisoning the air or what? Yeah.
Whatever I had said, but just that like you fucking elitist, like
Right.
it's like I don't
Oh my God, dude.
yeah. I mean, I could probably find it. I don't even remember. Why am I talking about this?
But I think it is a problem for the movement, and I don't really have an idea of like what you do to combat it or like
Because if that person is the best person in the race, you know, you still ideally want them to win. It just sucks that they're not like culpable or they're not accountable.
But do you? It's an interesting like question because like if they are the best person in the race, but like they claim to be from a movement that can't hold them accountable. They talk about movement ideals, but you don't really know what their history is. Like, are they the best candidate in the race, or like
I
not
think
that they're
here's-
not the best,
here's
but
where
like,
my-
is it worth you? You know, do you put energy behind that? You know,
I don't
that to me is the question.
I don't know if you put energy behind it, but I think it's more easily like you can like if we're going to exude pressure onto like elected officials,
Right.
and not just like get our own in there. Like if that's like part of the strategy, which it should be part of the strategy.
Sure.
I think those people are more susceptible to that. So
it's
I don't think it's
just
that bad.
So dark to be like our strategy will be this is inconsistent with your brand. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, not just that this is inconsistent with your brand, but like, no matter, like, we'll be loud as fuck about you. So,
Yeah.
like, once you claim anything about us, like, we're already there. So even if these people, like, are trying to, like, cash in on a movement they're not really, like, representative of, I think you can exude pressure on those people in strategic ways.
Yeah, but
You just have to, like, you just have to you have to actually have more power than them.
yeah, but I think that they also, because they can be visible and they can be, in positions of power, they
They can fuck shit up.
They
Yeah.
pose a risk. They pose a serious risk about things like, what they make you look like.
Right, credibility stuff.
Yeah.
Right. This is why you got to have shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking about Julia Salazar. How do you feel about her?
I don't think I know enough about it, but it seems like she kind of had some of that going on. Where it was like some like fake movement stuff, but
She seems to have gotten past of it. I kind of feel more positive about her now than I did when it was happening.
yeah, exactly. Like I think she gives a shit though. I
Yeah.
think like there's got to be a tendency for people who like are starting to like notice, left stuff emerging in pop culture. If they have like any desire to like, if they have any political ambitions, they'll be like, yeah, what these guys are saying over here, and that's probably going to keep happening. So there just has to be a strategy around when people claim shit.
But I think what's more important.
There's a difference between claiming it and like the people who are like exploiting it, though, which I think is what you were saying.
But I think like claiming and exploiting it are like those should be temporary sort of strategies or temporary like things that we're engaging with. I think like the bigger question that raises to me is just like these people. It shouldn't be a question. When people come from the movement, and if we're gonna like sort of get involved in that sort of arena, like they should come from the movement, and it should be like a very organic, like very natural, like you're clearly the best person. You should be convincing someone who doesn't want to do it, who is absolutely perfect to do it,
Right.
to do it. Like that's how it would work in an ideal
okay,
world.
I'll do it.
Do you know what I mean?
You would love it. You would love it
Of
so
course.
much.
I
Yeah.
want. If I thought that there was any chance that
God, how funny it would be if you became president. That would be so fun.
it would rule, I'd be great.
Is there something? I don't know why I feel like there's something.
Is there something below president?
I was
could
thinking,
he-
like, is there a reason that Benjamin couldn't be president? No.
I mean,
just assumed it was.
Other than age, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
I'm doing crimes constantly, but I guess that's normal
They
too.
stop being crimes when you're president. Though.
Yeah, but you haven't been.
That's
caught for
actual
any.
arguments that
They
people
stop being crimes.
Yeah.
You can't. Can you? You can't run if you have. Oh, you can run if you're a felon, right?
I have no idea. You just can't vote for yourself.
I haven't been
In
convicted.
Florida, yeah.
I haven't been convicted of anything,
It
or
feels
even
like
tried.
You should be able to, but I thought that was like a anyway.
No, I don't. I think you can still run.
Yeah, you can't. It's funny that you have to let everyone be able to try to be the president, but you don't have to let everyone vote.
You know how there's always a photo op like of like the candidate voting for themselves in the polls, or and then everyone's like, "Who'd you vote for?" It would just be very funny if a felon voted. And then immediately got arrested, just dragged away.
Man,
But yeah, it's you gotta find organic people, and you gotta find.
I love when Mary Devon smokes weed on the podcast and then just
Ruins
completely.
podcast.
No, you haven't ruined it. It's only good when you talk. So yes, ruined the podcast.
I know. I also got a stressful work text that made me had to check my email,
Oh no!
and it made me want to die.
Okay, all
but
right.
it's not that bad. But like someone tried. It's just so funny working in an environment where like I would say it's quickly. But if I don't do things quickly, people get mad at me. So she was like, "Hey, can I send out this email to parents about this like basketball workshop?" And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. And she was like, send me the parent list for the basketball teams. I was like, perfect. Thanks, Ann. Thanks for helping. And then I get a text and she's like, you better get in there. And then all these parents are like, this is Mary Devon's job. And I don't know why you're taking over for her.
What
And one
the
parent was like, why isn't Mary Devon doing her job?
Right.
And it's just like,
What?
because someone offered to help. And so I was like, yeah, go for it. Thanks, Ann. Like, but some parents will be cool about it. But it's just like, there's always the two that are like,
Sounds like you just need to give Ann your password.
yeah,
You
very
should.
ready-
That's actually a very good idea.
very ready to criticize.
I was gonna suggest putting out every time you smoke weed, putting up an out of office reply for your email that says like, I'm too high for this shit
Dude,
right now.
my vacation responder's been on since my wedding and no one told me. It's been saying,
That's
all my
so funny.
emails have been saying I would be back October 1st since
I'm getting
September
married.
28th. And it never was off.
Well, there's always another October 1st, so you're good.
Just in advance. You're just
so, but
preparing.
I've still been getting a lot of emails, but I also feel like some people were just like, well, I guess Mary Devon quit.
She took a
and-
year of matrimonial leave. And
Anyway, sorry. Go back to talking about the thing that I missed the beginning of.
That was like Megan Day's thing, right? Is you get married every 7 years, and you take a year off for the divorce, right? That
yeah, that's right.
man, I think about that fucking article so often. That shit would
Though
take.
he's taking the
that
year
would
off.
be so
Sabbatical
cool.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about that as well.
Did you guys see that the woman who played Dr. Melfi endorsed Bloomberg?
What?
Oh,
Lorraine
no.
Bracco. Not Lorraine Bracco.
Man, why'd you even
Also, I
fucking
can't
tell
believe
me
you
that?
know her as
Actually-
Melfi first off.
No.
Like
What else is she in?
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
I don't fucking care about Goodfellas.
Oh, I love that movie.
I think.
Wait, no,
And
no,
she's in a
yeah.
bunch
hey.
of
I don't know
other-
if I've seen the movie or just 1,000 posters for.
But I feel like
Goodfellas.
Melfi is like a more defining character for because I mean that's like 7
but
fucking
she's in a bunch of
seasons
other stuff
yeah.
too. I just can't think of
Yeah, that's
what
iconic.
it is. Yeah.
Italian stuff. Falciani stuff.
Did you guys? Sorry, I should not have cut that off because I'm sure that was going somewhere. But the Boeing emails. This is like kind of far back, but you know that
No.
I get a lot of Boeing emails.
the 767 Max or whatever, the fucking jet that killed that crashed twice or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Somebody leaked a bunch of emails where it's just a bunch of Boeing engineers.
I don't think that's very Boeing. I think that's very into Westing.
Someone leaked a bunch of emails between engineers, and all the emails are just like, man, I'm gonna go home and crash like this plane will inevitably because it sucks so much ass. It's just like just like that's an exaggeration, but they're basically like, oh, this is definitely gonna crash. One direct quote that I remember was like, this thing, it was designed by monkeys. Just like,
Well,
I'll tell you, I was
fuck,
on
dude,
3 planes, and I knew that plane was grounded, and I was still like, I wonder if this is the 3730.
Yeah. Dude.
I mean, huge bummer here, but also like fucking Hard Rock collapse. Like everybody knew that shit was gonna fall, man. This happens all the time.
Right. Right.
They just build shit that they know is gonna kill people, and they're like, "I'll be fine."
this
is
airplane
normal.
is designed by clowns who are in turn supervised by monkeys. Is what.
It's bad.
man.
I feel like the clowns should be super.
I want to keep this is from January 9th, but I want to keep reading quotes. I still haven't been forgiven by God for the cover up I did last year.
I should never drink yerba mate. 'Cause I just have to.
You just have to be all the time. Yeah, it irritates my bladder too. Would you put your would you put your family on a Max simulator trained aircraft? I wouldn't, one employee said to a colleague in another exchange from 2018 before the first crash. No, the colleague responded.
Jesus.
It's fucking grim. I mean, I think it was one of the first things that the Trump administration did was just be like, oh, all that air regulation stuff, we're just gonna have the fucking companies do it themselves, like regulate themselves or whatever. Let's see. Oh wait.
It's working out great.
And in exchange from 2015, a Boeing employee said that a presentation the company gave to the FAA was so complicated that for the agency officials and even himself, it was like dogs watching TV. So there you go.
I mean,
I just wanted
Damn,
to share
now I want to
that.
read this.
the airline industry is just like they don't make any money. Like it's
Nationalize it.
yeah.
Oh man, they accidentally let economy out before first class on the flight we were on last night because there was just so few people on the flight. One guy was just like, "Fuck it, come on, get out."
Yeah.
And then one of the flight attendants was making this face as we were walking out. She was like, and it was so funny.
How
she was so mad.
dare you get in front of the first class?
I know. And I was just like, dude, there's like 10 of us. Like, no, there's like no one on this flight. And we all still stayed in our seats. It's so funny because on a flight, it's like so formal that even though there was no one
It's a lot of rules.
I waited until like the plane took off to like move one seat over.
Right.
But I could only see one person. It was awesome, actually.
That's fun.
Also, the one person I could see was a man who was very afraid and like got really anxious before the flight went off and had to get help from the attendant. So I was just like, glad this is the only man who can see me on the flight as well. In the dark.
What was he freaked out about?
He seemed very like he was like a veiny-headed, muscly white man with red hair.
It was Jesse
So
the Body
immigrant.
Ventura.
I was with Swole Bill Burr, who had anxiety about flying, and it was like really scary because he felt unpredictable, like he was like freaking out, and I was like,
Man wasn't meant to fly. Unpredictable is exactly what you want when you're on an airplane.
it's your favorite.
It's your favorite quality in a person.
Yeah, I'm like, what do I want? Not to know. I don't want to know.
This guy's capable of anything. Yay.
But yeah, anyway, it was like a good flight, but it was just so funny that like the one person that I could see that could see me was like the worst. But at least I wasn't surrounded by people.
I just remember the only like, I don't even know how to describe this, but one time I was on a flight and there was like a Buddhist monk sitting next to me,
Sweet.
like in the like orange,
Yeah.
like whatever the fuck that's called.
Yeah.
You're picturing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like listening to music, and then he tapped me to try and listen to. So I gave him my headphones, and I was listening to like Funkadelic, and it just felt very. He listened to it for like 3 seconds, and then gave it back to me. He did not speak English at all.
He didn't react at all.
And I was like, like, is this a test or what? Like, am I being?
His name is.
You're being weird, but
It was like, I did
am I
not see that
racist
guy.
for thinking that this is strange?
His name is Tick Not Impressed.
Yeah. Anyway, and then there was also a different lady who told me all about the divorce she was currently going through, and that sucks.
Dude, you give off.
So she
you give off
wanted to
so
fuck
much.
you. Yeah.
You give off so much. I will fuck a divorced lady energy.
on
Yeah,
the
you're the guy
airplane.
from Crashing.
Was that? Oh, I've never seen. Oh, wait. No. Oh yeah, you totally fucking are. Oh no. Does that hurt your feelings?
I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
guy
It's
from
a terrible show.
The guy from
Pete
Pete
Holmes.
Holmes is crashing.
Well,
who fucks
I
his
only
wife.
said that because
Who fucks Pete Holmes' wife?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That'd be funny.
He can't deny it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Anyway, sorry, he fucks a divorced woman, so that's why it's anyway. That's it. Keep on talking about what y'all talking about.
No, I mean, she was just kind of sad. And it was a long flight, too. It was a flight from Hawaii to Seattle. So
Damn.
that's like 6 to 8 hours or something. Had to keep sitting next to her.
I wonder if
Yeah.
we have any divorce listeners. Do we know of any divorce listeners?
My husband.
Yeah, Jeffrey Gaucher, for sure.
He is
You're right.
divorced technically.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I wouldn't even say technically. I would just say he's divorced.
Yeah, but I feel like usually when people say someone's divorced, they mean they're currently single because of a divorce.
Right.
Usually say he's married if he's.
You can't call him a
remarried.
divorcee anymore.
I think
Yeah.
of him more as a divorced guy than a married guy.
Thank you.
No, it's just he gives off divorce.
Yeah, his energy.
Oh,
yeah, it's
great.
like-
Oh, speaking of divorce.
I also love that.
Speaking of divorce guy energy, the Sadie Doyle thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Basically, you know the memes.
She was so insufferable that a bunch of women divorced their husbands.
the memes that
Wait,
go.
what? Who is
Just
this?
some fucking idiot on Twitter. And so basically there's like this meme going around that of like, you know, like, women will date like dudes with a mattress on their floor and like Cheeto dust everywhere or whatever.
Oh, is this where the fucking bed frame thing came from? Why everyone's mad about bed frames?
Yes.
Okay.
God.
And so someone
I didn't have a bed frame until I married Jeff.
right. So and someone quote tweeted it and was like, hey, like and it was like a very sort of good humored and like generous reply where I was like, this describes me when I was like suicidally depressed and like blah 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 blah. And she replied, oh, so all it takes is an army of pity fucks to save these men or whatever. Yeah. Just like the most cold-hearted fucking. Yeah.
Oh, not like it's.
But actually, it's
shitty.
sexist if you say it's cold-hearted because it's actually what's more cold-hearted than being a man? It's literally the worst
Sorry, I
thing
meant
that
to
you
say
can do.
frigid. Yeah. Anyway, that made me mad online.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was that whole discourse was really, really awful. It was cool to see people who had good takes on it that you would think didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can still talk even if I don't have the headphones on.
No. But you were
I was fucking it up.
you were straying. Yeah. You were moving further and
We're
further.
just messing with you at this point.
You're like, I can still talk if I have my headphones. It doesn't matter.
You were getting further and further away from the microphone. That's all.
Yeah, no, I just okay. I'll put it back on. I was gonna go pee, but I guess I can't move.
You can go pee. Mary Devon, go pee and we'll listen.
No, you can go pee.
Once you start talking like this, it's hard not to actually get creepier. I wanted to say tinkle, and that's a... I wouldn't normally say that. I wanted to say tinkle.
I hate it so much.
You hate it, but do it.
Try it.
But do it. Do the thing that you...
Do it. You're clipping the mic, but you do it.
Do what?
Just put your
hands over there.
I don't know what to say. It's not as creepy.
It's not making you
It's not
creepier.
What's that? Oh, have you turned?
You don't feel creepier
so
that
low.
way.
I don't want to do it.
Okay.
You do it,
Jordan. Yeah.
Jordan, it's your turn. I could do it.
What's interesting is that all three of us sound exactly the same when we do that voice.
Yeah.
It's like we're tapping into like the collective unconscious.
Of Bane? Bane is all of our collective unconscious?
I guess so.
I
I
thought it
don't
was
know.
Anton Chigurh, but
Yeah.
there should be like a social understanding that if you from your phone start playing the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme,
You're just forgiven.
you didn't mean to say.
Whatever you just did.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
I'm being misinterpreted right now. But not what it looks like. Shrug.
It was, it was so funny to me though, but I couldn't.
That's actually a great idea. Go ahead.
Also the tweet about the woman who, there was this woman who's like a completely fine person who tweeted about how she is a black coffee drinker. She's a white woman, but she was saying, shout out to all my black coffee drinkers. and then wait, underneath she was like, I feel like there should be a separate line for the black coffee drinkers because we take so much less time. And it was so funny because she had no idea why. And then someone even commented with a picture of a packet of Equal and said separate but equal. Oh, man.
Oh God.
Anyway, that was so funny.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we did a recording, so I have to go through all the fun internet things that have happened in the past month.
Man, God bless like truly guileless people.
Yeah,
they make
she had no
everything
idea.
so much better.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna make that mistake. I don't think. I'm
No.
too worried about everything.
I think I could avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's fine
I
with
feel
me.
like I should
Oh,
have
it's
asked.
Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who said "love is love."
Is that that's an
No.
actual?
Oh man.
Wait. All right. If we're gonna. All right.
The guy who said "live, laugh, love."
I thought you said love is love.
That's I'm continuing on that train.
bit, yeah.
Uh,
You were gonna ask me something.
No, just if we're gonna mention that it's it's MLK Day. Coretta Scott King doesn't. She like went to her deathbed believing that James Earl Ray was innocent, and people should believe that.
Oh yes, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Jabuki for getting his account suspended.
What happened?
This was good.
He changed his display name on Twitter to FBI.
Mm-hmm.
He
And his
changed his
profile
picture to the FBI logo. And then he said, just because we killed MLK doesn't mean we can't miss him.
They did. They definitely did.
Yeah.
So
Not only
So
that, it was
Coretta
like
Scott's-
6 hours after he got
Oh, yeah,
unsuspended.
he had
Coretta
just
Scott
gotten
King-
unsuspended.
filed a civil suit in 1999, like alleging that James Earl Ray was completely framed and that there were like several government organizations and the mafia
Awesome.
that conspired to assassinate MLK and won. And all she asked for was $100 because it was like the minimum thing you could ask for.
Mafia had a great run in the late 60s, early 70s.
They were killing it.
That was practice for Jimmy Hoffa right there.
Yeah, definitely. When did Hoffa die? When did they kill Hoffa?
A little later, 74, 75, something like that.
Oh, he might still be out there.
Definitely not.
He just disappeared. Maybe he's
Definitely not.
Maybe he's on Little St. James, just kicking it.
I saw the
What do you guys
documentary.
think of The Irishman? Because I watched the first 90 minutes of it and I stopped watching because nothing fucking happened.
Well,
It's like comedians in cars getting coffee, but for the 60s
That's
and
so
like
funny.
the mafia.
I mean, and like it
was so long.
The de-aging thing like was so distractingly bad. I like
I that.
I really
that was
thought
insane.
it was
Yeah.
I loved
Very
that.
cool.
It was insane.
it was unwatch. It was like I love Scorsese, but don't make 90 minutes of an unwatchable movie and expect me to keep watching it.
I think
Right.
if all the dialogue could have been equally absurd, it could have been good.
We're talking about The Irishman.
So boring.
Yeah, it was extremely boring.
I really, really wanted to like it, and
Same,
then
dude.
Jeff and I both.
I
watched
couldn't
it. We're
even
like,
finish it.
Sucks. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't finish it.
We
Certain
got
scenes are perfect, though.
2-ish hours in.
Certain scenes are really good. Like there's just sometimes,
I was like,
when the
this'll be
dialogue
good.
is going completely crazy, and you're just like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I liked that. This is not advancing the plot at all.
That movie was. It was like when in grad school. I mean, this is not like a law of narrative or whatever, but in grad school, I had a teacher who was like, one of the stupidest things you can do as a writer is have a flashback within a flashback, and within the first like 20 minutes, there's a flashback within a flashback within a flashback. Like it's just like we're just like, oh, so we're just gonna tunnel back in time until his face is just a smooth blob.
Yeah, it was. I actually the CGI non-aging thing like didn't even phase me at all. I think I was just so bored, and I really
Well, but
wanted.
if it didn't phase you, then could you tell what age they were supposed to be?
I don't know.
No, they were all
I think
amorphously middle-aged at all
yeah,
ages.
exactly.
Yeah.
Even like
So it
like
throws
young.
you out. Like it just looks
I guess because
stupid.
I just wasn't being critical enough of it because I wasn't paying enough attention to realize like, oh, he's supposed to be 20 right here. Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. When I first saw it, the transition between ages, I was like, is that a different guy? So it was
wow.
like, yeah. So yeah. I
would've
might
been better-
also be like a baby with no object permanence. That could also be part of it. So
They should have just switched to like Big Mouth style animation for a different era. Like just so you know for sure.
right.
Just the most.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I really liked. I forget.
Come on, dude. You liked.
It's so nice to not be the person being reprimanded for losing my train of thought.
Yeah.
On this podcast because that's all I do.
You were talking about
Big Mouth, Irishman.
your
Smooth blobs. Jimmy Hoffa. Oh, we're getting there. MLK. We're going back in time. I'm a smooth blob now. I don't know. How are you doing, MD? You no, just in general, psychically. How are you doing?
Psychically pretty good. It's weird that it's Tuesday, but yeah.
It's not.
I know it's Monday, but it's Tuesday tomorrow, so I'm already preparing myself
Right.
that my first work days after 4 days of not working is going to be a Tuesday.
You don't get to do that. That's not fair. You can't be like, because I'm thinking about a different time. It is that time.
It's Tuesday to me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, like, it's how you lie up. You know,
Lie
like
up?
when people ask your age, you say you're older because you're just like, I'm lying up. Or
Is
you
that
say-
what women do?
That's what I do because Pam DeSantos at Slinky's told me to do that. Remember the bartender at Slinky's, the fake boob lady?
Yeah.
yeah, who loved pit bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, I always lie up about my age and my weight, and I was like, that burned into me. So now when people are like, how old are you? I'm always like 33.
I
Like
actually
strangers.
kind of like
okay,
that.
why did I so immediately go like, oh yeah, of course, when you said fake boob lady and then like loved pit bulls?
Yeah.
That makes
It's a natural pairing.
too
Yeah.
much sense to
is.
me. Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
I mean, it's an unnatural pairing.
No, but you lie up because people take you more seriously. But now that I'm at an age where I actually would be taken seriously at my own age, I still do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, people might say I look good for my age. But anyway, or think in their heads I look good for my age.
So
and
you
not.
say you're you're 31 right now.
So
right?
anyone who
So you
wants-
say you're
I say I'm 33 sometimes.
33.
When strangers ask how old I am in a rude way, I say I'm 33.
So anyone who wants this show to have a monthly live show, go up to MD and say, "How old are you?" And then whatever age she says, say,
When she says 35,
"You look great
say,
for
"You
your
look
age."
incredible."
"You should do a live show."
Yeah.
How old are you again? Yeah. What else are we mad about?
I'm mad about the guy. Okay, so first of all, did y'all see the thing about? Can I talk about more internet stuff?
Yes, you can. You don't have to ask permission.
yeah.
This is your
There's no
show.
news. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, I don't want to
There's-
talk about news. Also, Jordan, I feel like I want to ask you more things.
All right, ask me things.
But did you see the?
Did you see the thing I was already thinking about?
I'm gonna finish the thought. I actually realized that.
Could
when I
you
not finished
respond?
it.
Oh, man.
Go ahead.
That was awesome.
That will.
Shit. Shout out to Jeffrey Gaucher.
that is a question.
No, so what, did you see what?
The lady, or no, the horrible guy who went after the woman at Target because she wouldn't sell him something. He was trying to buy something for 1 cent because the price tag on it said 1 cent erroneously, and he like
He
harassed
was
her
like,
and was
no,
insane.
fuck it, I'm doing it. Yeah.
So some woman quote tweeted, some woman that's like, I don't think it was like a viral tweet. I think it was like a local follower that I saw it from, maybe not, or like someone that I locally follow, or anyway. But
I'm with you.
okay. So she was like, typical cishet white male, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, this is disgusting behavior. Like it does. Okay. So what the behavior was.
Wait. Are we calling out people for trying to get deals now? 'Cause this is, I've got a different angle
Wait, listen.
on this.
Wait, listen. So this guy was like, she wouldn't sell it to me for 1 cent, and because
It depends on what was 1 cent, really.
it was some kind of toothbrush or
If
something.
that's what they're advertising it as.
it was like a toothbrush. So he posted a picture with her name tag and said the name of the Target employee on the
okay,
internet.
that sucks.
And was like, she wouldn't abide by this state's law to sell from the ticket price. So you should. And he was like, I'm shaking right now, and acting like he was being. And it was like the real price was like under $20. Anyway, and he was like, I'm shaking right now because they're breaking the law. And he's a guy that like had already done something shitty on Twitter.
I'm shaking right now.
Yeah, no, he
I'm
was
scared
yeah, no.
when people
So-
break the law.
Yeah, so he like
I'm
it's-
coming. So,
Once you
I'm
break
having
the
a
first
full
law,
body orgasm.
you never know what's gonna.
And the woman's picture that he like unethically put on Twitter was just this woman who was just like, and it was like her in her Target outfit, and she looked so pissed, and it was very funny. But anyway, sucks for her. But I was just saying the fact that they were like, oh, this cishet white man. I was like, yes, he is, but also I feel like you should clarify someone's like gender and sexuality if it's something that's like, if you want to like dunk on
relevant to the story.
if it's relevant to the story. I'm like, it doesn't feel relevant here. You're kind of implying that it would have been okay for someone who did not fit into that to like also be a horrible dick to people that work at Target.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No woman has ever had an unpleasant customer service
Exactly.
interaction
Yeah. I'm like,
and been entitled and mean to. Yeah.
it's just really scary how like, I don't know. I know I'm talking about, like we said, like not that many people actually are on the internet, so it kind of doesn't really matter. But I do think that it is bleeding into. Actually, you know what? I don't. I think that the internet just makes us think that people care more about that stuff. But in like real life, I feel like it is still true that it's harder for people to get away with stuff if they're like belonging to. Anyway, sorry.
I'm not sure if they're belonging to what.
I don't want to talk anymore.
Okay.
I'm gonna tap out.
All right.
No, I get what you're saying. You're like, does the amount of pissed off about like identity politics debate stuff actually bleed into the
Yeah.
real world.
And I think
you're
it
saying-
does to an extent. But,
does,
Yeah.
I think it.
But not the way it feels online.
Right.
I mean, definitely not the way it feels online. In the same way that like, the way that like monoculture is still portrayed by the corporations clinging to the idea that there is a monoculture,
Yeah.
like bleeds into everyday life. Like,
Yeah.
I think internet, like Twitter discourse or whatever about like identity politics and this and that and all the things that people get pissed off about online does bleed into reality, like about equally as much as like fucking reality TV show, you know, MTV, like CNN, all these things that used to matter so much more bleed into reality, which is like less than those things used
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So now there's like this weird.
It's like everything bleeds, but in like just an incredibly small way.
Yeah, it's just
But
getting more and more
everything's
niche. Like
bleeding,
some
yeah.
people
And
are
it's
still looking
along demographic lines, especially age, right? Like the sort of legacy media stuff is all old people who
Yeah.
are just like,
That's why, like, I mean, seeing how pissed off everyone gets about, like, the New York Times endorsing Warren and Klobuchar is this exact intersection of, like, a dying fucking brand. And,
Yeah.
like, I wonder if it is, like, a cynical, like, thing by the New York Times to be like...
people will share this more.
People will
Right.
pay attention if we do the
Something
dumbest thing
so
we
stupid,
possibly
yeah.
could. Like,
Yeah. We take this responsibility very seriously, so we're going to
I
completely
also
abdicate
expected them
responsibility.
to
I wouldn't
endorse
be,
Warren.
I
So
wouldn't
was
be
like, it's
surprised
so-
if this is the kind of like we look at this as like, oh, that's when the New York Times just completely stopped being relevant. Which it would have been nice if that would have happened with like the Iraq War.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's like you just don't have a sustainable model.
They're at least aware of it at this
Yeah,
point.
they
Like, it's
know.
now almost
They
provable
know.
that they know. Yeah.
But
I mean, my opinion of them has changed dramatically in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Same.
Like even up until 2017, somewhere around 2018, I was at least like, I'm not going to 100% agree, but I'll just like read it. Let's see what's happening. Now I'm just like, this is actually somehow worse than like if I got all my news from Yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Like somehow worse.
Well,
Well, because you still get like, even if you're getting press releases, you're not getting press releases from one specific camp from like shitty ass news. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you're just getting like AP stuff like reworded, which is like still, I'm sure, biased. Like
Right,
associate,
AP, like-
associate, yeah.
yeah.
claims this like level of like
They try harder than
unquestionable objectivity,
Right.
and it's like no, that's even
The liberal obsession
even
with
thinking you can
objectivity is
have
a
that
fucking-
stance is nonsense.
no, but
What's funny about that? Like you're talking about the obsession with objectivity. It's like what's funny about that is like around the edges of the liberal media, they've started to like address how objectivity is a joke. Like I think about how like like marquee NPR podcast started like being like this isn't objective,
Yeah.
Right.
and being like we're still doing journalism, but we're going to talk about how it's not objective. It's like they're
Right.
aware of the falsehood of objectivity.
Right. Yeah, there was like a moment that passed in my life that I didn't register at the time, but it was when it went from not taking the op-ed page seriously to starting to not take the news coverage as seriously. Like where I mean, and it was all Israel Palestine stuff where I was like, oh, this is fucked up. Like
Yeah.
the level of reframing and erasure that's going on here is fucking wild. Yeah.
And I think how like political campaigns they're just so much longer and there's so much
Right.
more a spectacle than they ever used to be. Like you start reading pieces about a campaign that should be op-eds or like somewhere in like the like not even really journalism but just like Hunter Thompson kind of stuff. Like Hunter Thompson would be writing like that would be read as news now.
Right.
The way like people cover
You're talking about
campaigns.
stories that are just like this is what's happening inside the campaign.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they're
that's
collapsing.
that's not
Inside
news.
the
That's not-
K-hive.
Right.
That's a interesting
right.
personality piece.
Right.
But like that's the way we frame politics is like something happening around the person that is the name brand that we can make money off clicks of.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the story is. So, fuck them.
I also very much think a broker convention is definitely a possibility or likelihood just because there are so many people. You only need, what's the threshold? I think you need 15% to get delegates sent. So it's like, I think it's different per state, but you need a percentage to get delegates sent. And there are a couple of candidates that are polling at that level. And, there will be more once people drop out and you have, halfway through like 3-way races between like people who've already built up a couple things. I still think Bernie has an incredible shot at doing it. I just think I think a broker convention's not out of the cards.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of shit could happen. You never know, like, what weird stories are going to be manufactured out of nothing, or like what missteps people like.
Yeah.
Bernie does fuck up in interviews sometimes. Like, that could happen. Or, they could just completely manufacture. Like,
I don't
we're
think I don't think the stories have that much impact. Do you?
With the you don't think what has too much?
I don't think like the
What story?
manufactured stories have that much impact.
Like,
I think
they move too
Warren
quickly.
thing?
I think at this point, the manufactured
They move too
stories
quickly.
are starting to have impact because they can like run a story, get it popular enough to where they start running ads in that place. And then once they're running ads in that place based
About
on
that thing.
Yeah, they're like, did you hear that Bernie Sanders
Hates ladies.
Yeah.
like, and that's like the TV ad, and people are like, I don't like this. Like, it's like it's that stupid, but that's how it works.
I think Bernie's path to the nomination involves a great deal of forcing the Biden campaign to respond to things. Like, they're basically trying to hide him from the world because he's obviously sundowning, and like, so if they're able to continually piss him off enough that he's just like, oh, arm wrestle you,
Right.
with
He's
my
challenging
dick.
Bernie to push-ups. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You heart attack having little bitch. Like that's the kind of, because it takes nothing to get to make him lose his composure. But it's like kind of contrary to his.
But I feel also, as far as like the nomination goes, I think Bernie's gonna. I think maybe even run away with it. He's for sure gonna win New Hampshire.
It's like 2 electoral votes, or that's even two. They don't have a large delegation.
But it's all about like momentum.
Yeah,
basically.
but that narrative is based
he's
on.
gonna win New
that
Hampshire.
narrative is
he's
based
gonna win
on-
California, which is so many.
That's fine.
Nevada,
That's so late though.
Huh? No, California's not so late.
Oh, it's not. All right.
California's like the 5th one.
After Super Tuesday, or
It's-
before.
It's on Super Tuesday. It's the biggest one on Super
okay,
Tuesday.
all
It's
right.
right after Nevada, which
Okay.
he's gonna win.
I think he's got a good shot in Nevada.
He's
Yeah,
running
me too.
away with it in Nevada. He's running away with it in New Hampshire. He has a shot in South Carolina. Like, he's gonna win at least 2 of the 4 before that.
I think that's realistic.
And then
2
he's
or
gonna
4,
win the biggest one on Super Tuesday and probably a bunch of other ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see how someone who
But here's- okay, so
clearly
here's
has the best
the-
campaign is gonna lose. Like,
Well,
not just the best campaign, but like the most power. Like,
I think the ground game is obviously underrated at this point
Right.
in the polls and the results. We don't like. No one really knows
dude,
what the ground game's going to
He
do
almost beat fucking Hillary Clinton
with a lot
out
less.
of nowhere
A
with
lot
a lot
less.
less when
Yeah.
people
Right.
didn't understand this shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna win.
I will say that I think that the core of the momentum argument.
Mary Devon, I see your face. How much money you want to put on this?
None. I'm just listening.
I will put so much money on this because I want it to happen really bad, and I want money to make me happy if it doesn't happen. But no,
Yeah, that's right. You bet. When,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard your theory on
It's
gambling.
perfect.
It is flawless.
Yeah, but no, the core of the momentum argument is because you get so much fucking media coverage when you sweep the first 3 states, and I don't see that happening if Bernie does it.
Yeah. My other thing about the momentum thing is that narrative is very much based on historical races, right? It's based on things like, like this whole thing of like, oh, you win the first couple states and you tell a story, like that was literally invented by Jimmy Carter, right? So like, I think that this race with so many candidates, with a different media environment, with like the weird environment, obviously since 2016, I think that the rules don't 100% apply to it. Not that winning the first couple or winning 2 of the 4 would not be large. I just think that there's a lot more unpredictability. I think people might stay in the race longer than they normally
Dude,
would.
unless they fucking like poison a Dr. Brown soda, this motherfucker is running away with this shit.
I love it. That's
What is Dr. Brown soda?
Dude, that's anti-Semitism for you to not know.
Okay. All right.
Dr. Brown's cream soda is like it's Jewish water. That's our holy water.
nice.
Okay.
Nice. Like birch beer. Yeah.
Birch beer?
Birch. You never have birch beer?
No.
It's the official beverage of the John Birch Society.
That's a Pennsylvania thing. It's like
Moxie in Maine.
it's kind of like Moxie. Yeah. It's like purple.
I don't know what that is either.
I think it's pink actually. But yeah, it's delicious. It's like root beer, but not root, but
Birch.
different flavor. Yeah.
Mary Devin, what beverage would you be offended if I didn't know? What's the weirdest question I've ever asked?
Big Shot?
No, I don't care.
You don't care about Big Shot?
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Big Shot.
All right. It is weird to use that iconography to sell something, to be like, you know that guy you hate? This is his soda.
Also, they put
Drink
those
up,
2
loser.
pineapples
No, I think it makes sense.
too close
It's
together.
Like, you
and
know
they
that
kinda
guy
look like
we're
a
Those are
training
balls.
with,
Those
you
are
wanna
balls.
be-
Yep.
It's like a brain balls.
What'd you say, MD?
You know, it's like, you know that guy that we're trying to trick you into thinking that you want to be.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
MD with the Zizek ideology work. Killing it.
The ugly guy on the Big Shot label.
It's a knockoff.
I wish I could do a Zizek impression so I could do this.
I mean, it's
I'm gonna
really
cut it.
great. It's really grating to try.
But I'm
Because,
gonna-
like, even him talking is unlistenable. So, like...
Man on the Big Shot label. No, I can't do it. I just sound offensive.
To who?
You don't own that.
To people who sound fucking stupid all the time.
Right.
Where'd you tell Galena you were going?
She knows I'm coming here. Was I supposed to lie? Is this like Survivor? I can't tell people I'm on until the episode airs.
I
I don't know. I mean, you don't have to tell people where you're going.
You're clearly not married.
Wait, are you two married?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
You didn't notice he wears a wedding ring?
I don't notice.
You don't
wedding
notice
rings.
wedding rings.
No,
That's so funny.
I've never thought of it.
I knew you were married, but also noticed your wedding ring because I've always been obsessed with like cultural symbols my entire life. I'm just like, I need to know everything I can about someone as soon as I see them.
Yeah. Like earrings, like hoop earrings.
Yeah. Yeah, that girl wants to be black and it's problematic. That's what I want people to think about me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Yeah, you gotta say where you're going,
Yeah.
when you're gonna be back. I'm not complaining. These are just facts. This is just a
I mean,
story.
I've been in a relationship with someone for like a long time at this point, and I know that that's a thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
and I'm very bad at it.
I mean,
I'll be like-
I'm bad at it too.
I'll be back in 20 minutes, and then it's like 4 a.m, and I'm stumbling home.
Yeah.
Like fucked up on Molly. And
I'm bad at it
she's
too. Like regularly, like any kind of like social time at P-Rogues or something, I have to. I add like an hour, and I'm still late. I'm like, I'll be home at like 11. Definitely, I'm still late. So yeah.
Well, I think it's because once I recognize that it's time to go, that's when I start having fun.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, night's over.
It's going back.
No more
Yeah.
expectations for how things are going to be. Like, and then it's like, oh, okay, now we're
Well,
riffing.
things are
Now
happening. Yeah.
We've entered the riff
we have
zone.
we have to hang out now. No.
Mary Devin left.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she smoking?
Yeah.
No, we said something that wasn't sexist enough for her, so she decided to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is smoking.
She's smoking.
She
Wow.
invited us, but we don't smoke.
This is the
Did you ever smoke?
Did I ever smoke cigarettes?
Yeah.
No.
That's good.
I'm one of the rare. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Benjamin have both been quit for a really long time.
Yeah. I just actually when my mom was like, you really can't smoke. I was like, yeah, smoking sounds lame. I'm not going to do it.
I went to like a boarding school, a public boarding school. I'm always at pains to specify so people don't think I'm rich. Went to a public boarding school, and you had to kind of sign out
Right.
to go anywhere. Like if you left the dorm, you had to be like, I'm going to the natatorium for a swim
Right.
or whatever. And it was just like one of the only ways that we could get out from under the thumb of the panopticon or whatever. And so we would just like go like literally like hide below ridges at the bank of the river and just like lie down and smoke where no one could see us. It was very...
That sounds about right.
My life a movie, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely sounds like a 19th century novel of some kind.
Me and Olga Baranova hanging out smoking cigs, blasting cigs with Olga Baranova.
Ripping cigs.
Dude.
I feel like the last hour is getting cut. Right?
I'm cutting a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. We're just hanging at this point.
Yeah, we're just mostly hanging. Now that MD's back, I guess we could finish the episode.
Sorry.
No, I'm not mad at you at all.
I'm always mad at you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You give me rides.
Thanks. It's beautiful.
What is CPN?
Oh, we're gonna get into deep DSA lore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, it's just like sort of like a national group within DSA that's just trying to sort of address some of the challenges that have come up by DSA, like growing so rapidly over a short period of time. And there's a couple main things. Like one of them is kind of want to have an organization that's like democratic on a level beyond local chapters, because right now essentially like the structure of the organization has not changed since it was like a reading group in Brooklyn, and so it's very hard to like understand what's happening at a level that's beyond the local chapter. And
Basically, for people who aren't in it, it's like there's a loose federation.
It's like Congregationalist.
Yeah,
socialism.
there's a bunch of different like pockets that are doing shit completely in isolation,
Right.
and then there's a national body that has some relationship to those chapters, and that relationship itself is not even necessarily defined.
yeah, that's about right. And so it's sort of just a project to create, a mass organization on the model of like, mass organizations in other leftist formations throughout the world. So something like you might see in, like the Pink Wave in South America, or like, the UK Labour is sort of like that a little bit. Something that's a little more like cohesive and collective. Because really, the way DSA currently works, the only time we come together is like in a convention, basically every 2 years, and that's not really enough to like debate like big political questions on a national level.
Yeah.
But it still happens, though.
It also
Yes.
does make sense. Yeah. Like, I know very little about DSA, but I feel like there's a lot of people that are critical of it because of that. And it's like, it makes sense that it's going to take a period to like figure out how to make it more of a cohesive national thing than just a,
So how does CPN respond to these challenges, or like in what ways is it a solution to these problems?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So one, basically, we are trying to have a national sort of like recruitment strategy for DSA, right? So, the organization sort of ballooned around the 2016 election very organically through social media, through like people's like informal social networks, but like really to win socialism, we need to like actively be trying to like recruit people, and we need to like recruit people in a strategic way with like strategic industries that actually are able to like make change in our local contexts or whatever. And so that's one platform, is like basically like we're trying to get to 100,000 members by 2021 and have like an intentional strategy around it. The other is sort of create more layers in the organization so that it's not just locals and a national political committee that sort of are only connected through the convention. So maybe create like some sort of regional formations to like formalize the
Big
connections.
10, Pac-12,
Yes,
SEC.
exactly. Yeah, NFC South. Yeah, and so that there's sort of more formal connections between chapters that you can coordinate on projects. So like
Right.
if you're running a statewide campaign like we did for Margee, like we were kind of only able to do that because we informally have, like some of the leadership in New Orleans informally have connections to the chapters across the state. But like, as we go through different formations of leadership and other people step up, like I just know people over there. The next person might not. So like you really kind of do need some sort of formalization of that. And then
and also it seems like part of it is like if there is any sort of like for lack of a better word, like reactive thing that chapters do in a place, like it doesn't make any sense if like New Jersey doesn't have any formal connection to fucking the Philly chapter.
Right.
Because like if like there's a storm there or like if there's like a fucking like if someone blows up a building or something, like there should be a socialist response to whatever
Claiming
event
responsibility.
happens.
Yeah.
Claiming responsibility for the hurricane that we caused with our Jew magic.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And so there's that. And then there's also like a labor strategy, right? So, on the national level, DSA labor strategy is coordinated through something called the DSLC, the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission, which is basically like the national labor group. And we are trying to incorporate a strategy that works in every state so that people can kind of develop something that's based on their local conditions. Like formally, it was very much based on like union density states, like, trying to like militarize existing unions, which is obviously challenging here in Louisiana where we have few or very little. So I think that's sort of like the big picture. There are some other areas that we're focused on, like, we have sort of like an international strategy too, like the way DSA connects to like working class movements in Central and South America needs improvement. But I think internally those are sort of the main focuses to kind of become a mass party. Like the easiest way I think of it is like right now, largely DSA's, let's say there's, 50,000 people or whatever in the organization, and it's largely really like 10 to 15,000 people that spend 5 to 10 hours a week. And really to do this effectively, we need to be 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people that do this 1 hour a month.
Right.
And the way the organization is structured, the way that we make decisions, what sort of things that we take up, I think that all those things are somewhat a barrier to, I don't know how else to say it, but normal people who just don't spend an insane amounts of time doing this.
Is there pushback from people who take issue with the idea of any sort of like centralization or like transition from direct democracy to representative democracy kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that there is. I think this is still an ongoing debate within the organization. I do think the way that the national convention went, that there is somewhat of a bit of a, it's sort of pointing in the direction that people are a little more comfortable with centralization than they might have been, 9 months ago.
Oh, interesting. To what do you attribute the reluctance to centralize, like Cold War propaganda stuff hangover, or what?
No, I think that a lot of people who are exposed to like left movements and like people who are doing this work have kind of just been politicized and exposed like basically since Occupy. And I think that like we all sort of come from this like post New Left tradition. And
I think even since like the DSA is, the like organizations merged to like form DSA, like what most people thought of when they thought of like going to a meeting of socialists was like this very like weird kind of like Trotskyist, like bunch of people talking about shit they've read before, like mistrust of any actual organization or any desire to gain real political power. And I think there's like people are still holding on to that. Like, I don't know if we can do this out loud. Like, I'm scared to actually go talk to anybody about the things that I think everybody should be on board with.
Yeah, I mean, the left has retreated into issue activism and lifestyle activism for a long time, and I think like reorienting to something that's more aligned with mass movements that have happened in the U.S. before is a fundamental challenge of this period, because I think we're at the cusp of it. I think based on the size and the energy around it, especially with Bernie's campaign, I think that like it is extremely possible to have a huge movement of a lot of people who do this work in a less activist kind of way.
Yeah.
That's possible in 9 months, in a year. Yeah.
I mean, if somehow there's a transition from like all the people who are like making phone calls, like fucking 5 million calls in a week to Iowa about the primary coming from all over the country, that's insane.
Right.
That's so many people. There's
and just like imagine that campaign infrastructure transitioning into like an arm of like the Bernie Sanders administration. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's a very real possibility that this volunteer network that they've created will continue to thrive. I think Bernie will very much not make the Obama for America mistake. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
I don't think that was a mistake, though. I think
sure,
that was
yes.
like
That was
he
on
didn't
purpose, yeah.
want to have accountability to a mass movement.
Yeah.
Even though that was like what got him elected.
Yeah. But I think that's a really real possibility.
It's a shame about what Obama did to OFA.
Oh, for what?
OFA these nuts. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think like there is so much energy around it. He's going to definitely try to create some sort of lasting thing, and I think that will definitely change the dynamic within the sort of larger socialist movement, like if that happens.
Also, on a fucking like last like serious point before we fuck off, I think the like internationalism plank of CPN was one of the things that mainly drew me to it. I got drawed real hard to it. Especially thinking about like what it would actually take to prevent a war with Iran. Like, there's no way that could happen without some sort of coordination between like people who don't want that kind of thing to happen in Iran and people who don't want that kind of thing to happen in the United States. And like that was happening in like the Vietnam era, and there was no fucking internet.
Right.
So if we're not like if we're claiming to be a serious socialist organization and an anti-war organization, and we don't have the capacity to coordinate with movements in other places, like we can't get anything done when it comes to like international conflict. And here in the United States, we do that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So
I mean, everything, international conflict, like, when you hear news about moving a factory to another country, like,
Right.
the other thing as I think about with that is like when the socialist movement globally was at its strongest in the early 20th century, like part of it was because they had an
The
international
international,
movement.
yeah.
They were able to do that. Like the collapse of that, I think, definitely, has informed like how weak the movement became after that. Like never really recovered from that World War I sort of era.
Yeah, I mean that's always the sort of chud retort about like wage activism, for example. They're always like, well, they'll just send it to another country. Like having a robust relationship across like a robust international network of workers is vital. Yeah,
it's almost like the workers of the world
should unite. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and on that note, bye.
Good
Oh,
night.
you said you didn't want to have anything you wanted to plug.
I have nothing to plug. No.
Jordan Falciani.
Giorno Falciani.
Giorno
Falciani.
Giorgiano Falciarindo.
All right, and I'm
Thank you guys for
also
having me.
Italian. Thanks for coming on.